Hey everybody and welcome. Today we are going to be reviewing the legendary Stephen King films, Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Joining us today, hold on, there we go. I don't know why that button was not working. Today we have MasterChief2011 and Ingot.
Hello.
Hello.
Alright, and if you guys are wondering, yes, they're both in different areas. They're, while Ingot's from California, my MasterChief2011 here is actually over in Connecticut.
And good day.
Yeah, considering the options is a bit of a time skip, but yeah, we'll not go into too many details on that, or otherwise we'd be here forever.
Oh,
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we're discussing the time zones. Alright, so first of all, we're going to start off with the very first of the two, which is The Green Mile. We're going to do that one first, and then we're going to go with Shawshank Redemption next. And, alright, so here's actually a question. How many times have you guys watched these films?
The Shawshank Redemption I've seen many times. I wouldn't even be able to tell you now. Anytime it would come on TV, or actually the first time I saw it was with your mom when I was like 12 years old. So, and then I've seen it many times since. And then The Green Mile, I have actually only seen a couple times because I cannot handle it. Like, I will just bawl my eyes out. It's not worth it anymore. Like,
True enough.
Yeah, for me, Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile, I watch every time that I can. So if it's on, I watch it. They're just two outstanding.
yes.
Mm-hmm. And two outstanding Stephen King stories. It's here's the thing. Stephen King he has a reputation of having some pretty bad shit in his collection, but he does have some really good stuff hidden away in there. And some of them we are going to be reviewing today, such as the good films like Stand By Me and Children of the Corn. Yes, I know a lot of people say that's an okay movie. I actually think it's pretty fun. Then, of course, we have the Legends of Pennywise in the Stephen King miniseries It. And we have the next one, The Mist. That's going to be happening next week. Stand By Me and of course, Children of the Corn, we're leaving that one for the week after. And if you guys noticed with those two films, yes, they're based on children in those stories.
Yes.
But while one is a journey of 4 children going to see a dead body, the other is an entire child cult that was being run by a surprising actor who was actually 25 years old when he did the role. Yeah, he has some condition where he unfortunately stays young, but yeah, yeah, that's the reason why. And honestly, I thought he was a kid. It's actually amazing. He fooled me. Well done. But yeah, we're gonna start off with two of my personal favorite Stephen King films. Also, if you guys are wondering if we're gonna do anything of shit that involves with Stephen King, I have two that honestly deserve to be ripped apart religiously. One of them is, of course, actually no. I'm gonna save that for the actual review. You guys will not know until we reveal it.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to argue with you no matter what. I guess it's films and not necessarily books. Can't think of anything that was shit ever from Stephen King. So.
Oh, I know a few.
I will fight you.
Langoliers is one of them.
What? Whoa! Did you read that book?
No, I'm talking about the miniseries.
We're talking about the mini, yeah.
Yeah, the book is. Here's the thing: the books are amazing. People read them; they're great. Just some of them never adapted that well into film or TV medium.
Well, that's because you can't fairly call them Stephen King movies once a different director gets a hold, because most of those films weren't even authorized by Stephen King. There were a couple of TV miniseries that he did have a hand in, and a couple of the more recent films he has been a little. And back in the day, he would make an appearance in a film that he actually enjoyed. But you can't. I don't know. They get to do what they want with his movies, so you can't blame him. I would just blame whoever directed it and made it. So.
That is true.
It's very hard. It's very hard at times to go up there and translate from the book to a movie.
Sometimes,
trying to break it down into an hour and a half, a 2-hour movie, sometimes you do need a mini-series type for most of his books anyway.
True.
Yeah.
Like, take a look at the Harry Potter series. Even they had to cut out a lot of the stuff from each book just to even be able to fit it. It's still a great movie series by far, but again, you can definitely tell you a lot.
Oh my god.
But basically, it's a good example of how, in order to, of course, make it fit into maybe an hour and a half to 2 hour long film, you have to cut some details, unfortunately, out. Sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's for not. It really does depend on how things go from there.
They didn't need to cut Peeves the Poltergeist out of every damn movie.
Unfortunately.
He was huge in the books. Come on, man.
Exactly. So, basically, it's a type... What Ingot says is a great example of what happens. Luckily enough, when it comes to Stephen King films, or in this case, miniseries, depends on which one you're going for, some of them have been adapted very well. Stephen King's It, for as much as that one is a bit goofy, it actually fits more with the story than the one we got for the remakes. And when it comes down to The Green Mile and Shawshank, oh no, those are full-on movies, and he had a major hand in making sure that they were good.
Well, if you ever notice, like, his storytelling in those, everything like from Stand By Me and stuff like that, and you start taking a look at the other two, it's very, very good storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it easier to translate that into a movie. You know what I mean? Because everything is pretty much set up. You didn't have to do too much more than just kind of get to the environment or to the scene, where you could be able to pick out everything that you need in that one scene that kind of helps derive everything else. You know what I mean?
True.
And also, those movies... Sorry.
Go on.
The movies that we're talking about, too, are actually some of his shorter stories. Stand By Me was actually called The Body, and it was in a book of, 4 different stories. And it's Shawshank Redemption. It's awesome, but it's a book of 4 different stories. So they could do a better job with it because they could do the whole book within the movie frame time. So
exactly.
And plus, they concentrated on the characters. I mean, truly concentrated on the characters, where I think the other parts of the movies, they try to go for the scare, for the suspense and everything else. Where when you have good character development, that's when you actually see the really kind of like the Stephen King shine. You know what I mean?
Actually, here's a question that I know a lot of people are asking me: should we really call Stephen King films, or some of the films that we know as horror, really horror? They act more like mysteries more than they do horror, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, I could definitely see where some people would say that some of them are more on the mystery side of things rather than horror.
I think it's more suspense.
Yeah,
suspense.
suspense.
Like Stand By Me, the whole thing leads up to looking at the body, finding the body. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing, was leading up to that point.
And of course,
the Shawshank Redemption, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just how things went, but everything was suspenseful. Everything, you had to kind of wait towards the end before you knew exactly how except for Stand By Me was one that it already told you at the beginning of the film what they were going to do, but it was the journey and the suspense to that moment.
Yeah.
That I think really kind of made it really big. But if you take a look, they did relatively the same with the Shawshank Redemption and the Green Mile, but it didn't necessarily tell you how it was going to be at the beginning. They did the Green Mile, but you didn't really know how it was going to end. And I think and I really liked how that thought process went really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when it comes down to some of Stephen King's stories, a lot of it's more about the journey, not the destination. And, of course, that's for some of his movies, like Stand By Me is basically the biggest hit with that message. Where other ones are definitely about the destination. Like The Shining, for example, is about the hotel and how they have to deal with that hotel. Especially since the actual real-life location it's based on does have some haunted rooms.
Well, the thing is, too, if you take a look at The Shining, the hotel is the character.
Exactly.
It is the main character of the whole story. Everything evolves around the hotel. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of like the same thing with like Stand By Me, same thing with the Shawshank, and same thing with the Green Mile. But this time, right over here, the hotel in itself was the character. It was the main focus of the whole film.
True enough.
And it was suspenseful. It was suspenseful throughout. I mean, yes, there was these, but when you really take a look at it, it wasn't really overly horror. It was just like a good, suspenseful movie.
True. And actually, before...
Which Shining are you talking about?
We're talking about the Stanley Kubrick version.
And not the miniseries.
Not the miniseries.
No.
Actually...
That one was good, too.
Actually,
that one was actually closer to the book.
That is true. Actually,
one thing it lacked. I'm sorry, but the one thing that it lacked, like the miniseries with Steven Weber, it was the fact that it just. Well, number one, I'm not trying to say Steven Weber wasn't a good actor, but you need the intenseness of a Jack Nicholson. You know what I mean? You have to have that character that can get that intense, and he just never did that. You know, he was just coming off his success from Wings, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And and this is where he was the funny guy.
Yeah.
And now he had to try to be this other guy, and that I don't think his persona actually made it work. You know what I mean?
True. All right, but when it comes down to it,
They're
actually,
very different films.
What?
They're actually very different from each other. Like.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint all the different stuff. So, but we should move on. We're like way off topic.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Actually, the reason why we were talking about it is that this is a good example of some of the stuff that Stephen King has done throughout his career, and that way we can really start delving deep into his movies.
Yeah.
But there is one last announcement before we continue this episode, is that I am actually thinking of turning November into original versus remake. Where we're going to be taking on,
there you go, yeah.
We're going to be taking a look at some of history's best films, as well as, of course, their remakes, and see just how different, as well as, of course, if the remakes are superior or inferior to the original.
That makes sense.
I think it'd be pretty interesting.
I have a movie that's not a classic. We should cover the Power Rangers for sure. I'm sorry. No.
Oh, Power Rangers.
Okay, first of all,
dude, I'm sorry.
Hold on. First of all, if we ever do the Power Rangers, here's the thing: if we ever do the Power Rangers, we have to do Super Sentai, which covers over 40 years of content. I am not looking forward to watching all those episodes.
Because there was a Power Rangers movie that my brother and I were super excited about when we were kids, and we watched it like a million jillion times. And then they had a remake that came out several years ago that we were actually
that's
really
what you
excited
meant.
about too, because it had Bryan Cranston in it, and it had Elizabeth Banks, and we watched it, and it was just,
I was a little worried you were going to say that we had to review the entire series, because good God.
No, I didn't mean. I just meant that was a movie that they remade after not even that long.
Oh, then yeah, we could do that. We could easily do that. Yeah. All right. So, what do you guys think your total scores are going to be in this one? We always do this for every episode and for every review. We do a before score, and when we tally up our numbers, we find out the after score in a way. So here we go. We're going to do Ingot, score of 1 to 50. What would you give Green Mile?
Oh, God. Man. I should have rewatched that. No, it's a good movie, and I remember, but I'll just give it a 45, and we'll probably raise it, but...
All right. What about you, Master Chief?
I think what I'm going to do is... These are some of my go-to movies right here. So I'm gonna give the Green Mile a 50.
All right, we got a 50. I'm gonna give it a 45, but only because that they're more like nitpicks for me. But I doubt they're really gonna affect my score. But it's just in case if we get into the discussion and suddenly those nitpicks become well, far worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Actually, here is one thing we are going to do, though. Give me just a second. I'm going to add someone into our group. Oh, shoot. Wait, how do I invite a dude in this? Give me a second.
Can you do it through your Discord?
Yeah, I'm trying. Give me a second. There we go. Oops. There we go. Got it. We're going to have Phoenix Fire join us.
Ah, there you go.
I wonder if he's ever watched these films. That'd be interesting.
We'll find out. We'll find out very quickly. And then we say, follow our lead, right, Ingot?
Yeah, I guess. I feel like if you haven't seen them, you might be very lost, but...
True.
No, but the thing is that if you listen to us, he's gonna, after he gets done, he'll know the movie so damn well he wouldn't have to watch it.
Oh, but that's no fun. I want people to go watch the movies.
No, you want them to read the book. I want them to go watch the movie. See,
I say definitely... I say read the book and watch the movie, compare the two, and see what you guys think. Because trust me, there's a lot to look forward to this.
I don't like reading, so it's kind of like, no.
I love to read.
Yeah, when it comes down to me, it's a bit of a mixed bag.
I was never a reader. I love to research, which is different. Because you're learning specific things, and you're still reading a lot, you really are, but the researching is what makes it exciting for me,
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just a different type of reader. I read for fun and to get away from reality, and research is not getting away from reality, so.
There's no such thing as fun reading. I don't know how you people do it.
Oh, very easily, and many books a day. No.
Many books.
That's why I like the Kindle, is because I finish books and I can just start another one, and
True.
Yeah, the only bad thing I don't like about the Kindle is the fact that when you're you know how it is, when you're researching, sometimes you guys have multiple books. And you can't have necessarily multiple windows open because sometimes you have to flip between pages and stuff like that, and you really can't do that. Anything on the computer is where you actually need books.
Yeah, no, again, research is totally different. I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so...
For that, you need actual books, textbooks.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're going to get started with story. Yeah, we're going to get started with story right now. Hopefully Phoenix will answer soon. If not, then no worries.
We'll just go.
Yeah. All right, so first of all, we're going to start with story. And honestly, for what it's worth, this is one of those stories that really hits you home. Of just how bad misunderstanding the situation can be. Because not only was an innocent man thrown in jail and was put on the death penalty for a murder he did not commit, but he ultimately and yet, surprisingly, he was fine with it. For all intents and purposes, he accepted his fate more than you would expect. However...
Well, let's take a look.
However...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
When it comes down to the journey of this character along with the group that he's with, you really do see just how much he really cares. And when it comes down to it, this is what I'd like to call emotional storytelling, which Stephen King is actually really good at.
Oh, yeah.
Because this one, along with Shawshank, hits emotional tones most other films can't. And does it in the best way. And this is one of those best examples of emotional storytelling. Which, personally, if you want me to compare which is better, a logical storytelling or emotional storytelling, again, it really does depend. But if I were to choose, I actually would go more emotional. Because you get more invested in the characters, you get more invested in their goals, and you get more invested in the overall arcing story that's happening in front of you. Luckily enough, this movie hits that in spades. What about you guys?
Well, when it comes to story right over there, I do agree about the emotional storytelling over there too. But let's take a look. You have the time period, the time period of it all. His childlike exuberance, which is for the whole time that it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of understand why he was placed there in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But you really didn't know about his what would you want to call it?
Supernatural abilities.
Yes, exactly. Supernatural ability to go up there and be able to breathe life back to fix things and stuff like that, And
Yeah.
really, when you start seeing that how the trust was there and how they did all of these things, it packed everything from religion to as I said, you can even say racism at the time,
Yeah.
all of these different things that went on. And the thing is that they found the truth. That was the thing. They actually found the truth that was there on who actually killed the girl, But it was still his choice that he wanted to go. You know what I mean? And I really think that was really a neat way of doing the storytelling. And I liked how Paul went up there and trying to figure out all the other things that went with it. You know what I mean? It
True.
was a really neat thing. I was really impressed. The story was very, very impressive, and it didn't skip around a lot. It was very smooth from the time that it started to the time that it ended. It was the story in itself was very, 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 very smooth. On
True. What about you, Ingot? What did you think of the story of the Green Mile?
The story itself is great. I want to mention, too, that, part of the reason it's so great is the actors that they picked to fill these roles that were already great. Tom Hanks is, one of the best, and the guy, Michael Clark Duncan, I think,
Yep.
who played John Coffey, he was amazing, too. So, and I think, sadly, he's no longer with us, but he was an amazing actor.
Yeah, I think his last performance, I think, was after
agree.
Daredevil.
Yes. Oh, okay.
And the thing is the fact, and Angus nailed it too, is the fact that all of them work together. And those are all big character actors too in the film industry, So you really had this really excellent cast right over there. So you knew that you were going to get the acting that it needed to be at. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you could have substituted any of the actors. I don't think.
No. I think the only way you could is if you got someone who could play a very big character with a big heart, and that's for Michael Clark Duncan. But that's really it.
And
Especially if they ever decide to do a remake.
I really honestly don't think you could have gotten anybody.
Unfortunately.
I don't really think anybody could have been able to portray that as well as he did.
No.
It's not just something that, I think all actors would like to have something like that, but he was John Coffey.
True.
Yeah.
All right, so what would you guys
Just like
rate?
the drink, not spelled the same.
What?
Just like the drink, but not spelled the same.
Yeah.
True. All right. So, what would you guys rate this? Rate the story of this movie from a score of 1 to 10. All right, so we got 10.
Yeah, 10.
10.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on this one. It's a definite 10, and the reason why is because again, yes, we will get into actors in a minute, but the way the story was told, it was told through an emotional level, which again, I think most people have a tendency of forgetting that. Take a look at the early Disney movies. A lot of them were mainly emotional stories, especially the very first one. It hit emotional notes. So it shows that emotional storytelling is something that is just as important as any logical story can give you. Sure that sometimes there's some stories need that logic in order to maintain the focus of the story, but sometimes you don't need it as often as you think if you're making an emotional story, one that really does convey.
An emotional story without something being linear, you lose everybody. You know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
I think that what really made the Green Mile and the reason why the story I thought was huge, emotionally speaking, because it gave you this dreamlike, you know, and your imagination was able to go with you. But what they did was they made sure that it was linear, that it was still flowing in a good direction. If it was all emotion, then unfortunately you would be all over the place, kind of like the movies Jacob's Ladder or a few other of those movies where after you get done, you don't even know where the hell you're at the end of the movie, you know?
True. Actually, also, can we at least remind everyone that this is one of those times where Stephen King did not do the religious nutjob trope?
Well, it wasn't that.
No, if you know a lot of his books and movies, he does unfortunately have that problem. The Green Mile and The Stand are the only two movies, as well as books, I know of where he literally doesn't make fun of religious hillbillies.
But the reason why is because if he would have took away from John Coffey.
Very much.
He would have took away from that character. Everything else would not have been there. You know what I mean?
Very true.
So, I mean, that's the reason why that you can't do that. You know, sometimes you're going up there, you're trying to show that God gave, you know, John Coffey this most wonderful gift that you could ever have, and probably all of us in the world would love to have that gift.
True.
You know, but we did not get that gift. He gave it just to that one person.
Yep.
And we would have lost it if it would have went too much into the religious point, which I'm glad that it didn't. You know what I mean?
All right, so now we're going to talk about characters. Whoo boy, this movie had an amazing cast. Let's just say it outright. Because, well, I just need to check it. But yeah, when it comes down to the cast of this movie, it's actually kind of amazing. You don't see too many movies where you have such a long range of character actors all in one freaking movie. And they did really good. They had Tom Hanks, they had Sam Rockwell, they had David Morse, Doug Hutchinson, they had Michael Clark Duncan, James Cromwell. They had so many. It's unbelievable.
And I think when you start taking a look at the characters, you know, like Percy, I mean, everybody, wanted to go out there and just slap that smirk off his face. I mean, you know that? You know, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, Doug Hutchinson.
Sadly, that was probably that guy's only good role, and he turned out to be kind of a douche in real life, so,
Unfortunately,
exactly. Yeah. But, you know, another thing, too, is you take a look at you know, when you're starting to take a look at how coffee was starting to affect everybody, all of the cellmates and everything else, you can just tell. And you can also see that how Paul, and I can't remember the other guy's name right now, it's just escaping me. You know,
what, David Morse's character?
Yeah. So
that's Brutus.
Is that those two guys? Yeah, Brutus. Yeah. So the thing is that if you see those two guys, you know, they had a lot of compassion and empathy for every single one of the inmates there because they got to know them on a very personal level. So even though that, yes, you know, roll on one, roll on two, but you can tell that, you know, they really, and so when those guys were going to leave, there was this respect that was within them, except for Wild Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, though, it's actually here's actually the crazy thing. If you guys know Jeffrey DeMunn, he actually appears in another Stephen King film, surprisingly enough, in The Mist. So he actually does bring some actors back to do other roles. Like, actually, surprisingly, the cast from The Mist, if just to go for a little trivia here, some of them would continue on to The Walking Dead.
was gonna say that guy's from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it shows that he has really good. The director as well, Stephen King, had a really good idea of who they wanted for the cast, and I am very grateful that they managed to do incredibly well on there. And not like I said, there are so many big names on this freaking thing; it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I really do believe at this point when you start to have all these characters that they come together, and you know, and they always come together at the right point. You remember the one that played Farmer Hoggett?
Yep.
You know, and his wife is the one that had the brain cancer and stuff like
that.
Oh
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was, that was very powerful because if you take a look now, he's going up there and he goes, "I'll do anything, even if it costs me my job." He was going to also protect John Coffey and everybody else too because of what they were able to do for his wife.
True.
And I mean, if you see how that just spread all the way around, that even gets to the point where they could understand that, yeah, John Coffey could not have done what they said he did. So everybody who was ever around John Coffey understood at that point that he was not guilty.
Exactly. But, yeah. So what would you guys give characters on this one? I think I already have an idea, but I want to find out from you guys.
Well, Ingot, what do you think on some of the characters? I know you haven't watched the movie as much, but,
No, the characters were all great. I mean, Tom Hanks, again, is good in anything he does. And the guy who actually plays Percy is such a... No, I mean... I hated that character. He did an awesome job.
He did an awesome douchebag.
You just wanted to kill that guy. Like, oh yeah, oh my god, and he got what was coming to him too. So I mean, the characters I guess were
literally getting infested with brain cancer. Shit.
They did good. They cast well, and they were able to portray the characters from the story very well. So.
True.
I have to say, because you just hit the point right there too. Cause I just thought about this too. When you start talking about even Percy and Wild Bill, I mean, you have these two people that you viscerally could not stand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. One was a weasel, and one was an actual killer. You know what I mean?
Sam Rockwell did a really good job of acting like a psycho.
That Percy took
You could also call Percy a killer, though, because he got off on the misery of the inmates. And remember what he does to that one guy? So
with the mouse.
The French guy, Delacroix or whatever, but that scene is just awful, and I'm just like that. I mean, Wild Bill's a piece of, he is what he is, because he's very clear about it. He's slinging dung at the guards the whole time. You know what he did in the flat. I don't know, just Percy. He's bad like that, but he gets away with it because he's in uniform, and it's sickening. So, ugh.
And his dad was the governor too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or you know what I mean? He had political ties. But I like how you put that too, because that is actually the worst kind of evil. Mm-hmm. I believe that Percy was the epitome of the worst kind of evil.
Corruption.
While Bill was evil, yes, but but with Percy, he does his evil intentions with the fun. Mm-hmm. And no, I agree, and I give it a 10.
Yeah.
The characters, it was just way too.
Yep, 10.
And I am still pissed that this movie didn't get an Oscar. Because, holy hell, they should have gotten an Oscar for this freaking movie.
Oh, I don't know why they didn't.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess I wasn't keeping track of what awards it got, but I'm shocked they didn't get something.
It was nominated, that's the thing. It just never won.
You know what was funny was that Duncan everybody believed that was his role to win the Oscar for Best Actor, and he didn't win it.
Do we remember who won that year instead of?
I don't know.
I don't remember, honestly.
The person that won, if I remember correctly, now mind you...
The Oscars are political too, though. Somebody was paid off. And
well, I believe that.
Actually, I remember... Wait. This movie came out in 99. I think there was... Toy Story came out around that same time.
No, but...
Toy Story 2.
No,
Toy Story 2.
No, that was in 2001. 99 was the release of Toy Story.
No, it wasn't. 1995 or 96. Come on, don't you dare quiz me on this one.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. It is Toy Story 2, and that one did win. And that movie did win.
Right again. Sorry.
Actually,
nobody listens to me.
Actually, here's something pretty interesting. That continue.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, when you start taking a look, and if I'm just trying to go back from memory, but I can just tell you that when you have a role that is meant 100% for you, right? I'm not trying to say that the other movies and other people did not go, but if I remember correctly, I don't think the person that won Best Supporting or
it was Best Supporting Actor.
At that particular point, Best Supporting Actor, I really don't believe that person, unless it was as good as it gets. You know, that's the only thing I can think of. I can't remember the 1999.
Give me a second. I'm actually going to look that right now.
It would be the 2000 Oscars. If the movie came out in 99, it was because American Beauty came out, I think, maybe the same.
Give me a second. I'm looking it up right now.
At American Beauty, they had Boys Don't Cry that year.
Oh, it was Michael Caine, The Cider House Rules. He was Dr. Wilbur Larch.
There were just a bunch of movies all against each other.
Yeah, there was Magnolia, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Sixth Sense. Oh, God, The Sixth Sense with Haley Joel Osment. Yeah, played by Haley Joel Osment, who also happens to be the same voice as Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the Cider House Rules was, you know, he kind of, yeah, I
haven't seen that one.
No, but the thing is that I really believed at this point that I thought his performance was the strongest. It was nice for him to get the nod, but he should have really got the win, you know, because it was just the movie was for him. I think each actor gets something like that once in your career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was his career defining moment. I mean, I'm not trying to say that he wasn't great at everything that he did. I'm just saying at that time right there, he really was the embodiment of that, and I believe that's what really took the movie to a higher level. You know what I mean?
True. And when it comes down to it, this movie did win. Did not win, but got nominated for 4 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Sound, Best Screenplay, based on material previously produced or published. Which, again, getting nominated for 4 things is still an impressive feat nonetheless. The only sad thing is that none of them were wins.
You know what I found is interesting, because we're still on characters, is the fact that you had Oscar-winning people in there. You had people that won Golden Globes, all these other different things. But still, if you notice, not all of them carried the day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was nice to see Duncan go up there and get the nod, but I really believe that not only got the nod, he should have won. That's just my personal opinion.
No, I'm with you on that one.
Nothing against Michael Caine, because Michael Caine is just a superior actor. He really is.
But Michael Clark Duncan's role and his performance in that movie was kind of once in a lifetime, and he should have won for that. Like, Michael Caine's been in a whole lot of crap. Like,
and he's really good at everything that he does. But the thing I liked about Duncan was the fact that his portrayal of that was a very excellent foundation for all the other characters to build on.
True.
He kind of took over the movie and took over the show. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to, actually, here's a little bit of trivia before we continue on, is that this movie had a $60 million budget. And the strange thing, and the cool thing is that this movie actually broke its record and went straight up to $286 million in the box office.
Wow.
So they made almost 5 times the money they earned from that movie. Which is insane.
No kidding.
That shows you just how good, that shows you that a lot of people really love this movie.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
All right, now we're going to talk about music. And okay, now this is actually kind of the one thing I am going to say. The music for me was good, but not great.
It fit with the movie very well.
True, but
It
there
had
are...
it had the vibe and the feel of the setting. The way it was a prison. I mean.
Oh yeah, of course. Now here's the thing, though.
I
Shawshank Redemption does it much better, in my personal opinion, with the music than the Green Mile.
Well, yeah.
Well, I think the Green Mile, I mean, the music was appropriate for what it needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is the difference between, like, maybe the Shawshank Redemption and what I see in the Green Mile is the Green Mile was a very supernatural thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can get kind of how you can get outlandish with it because it is a supernatural type of way of looking at it. But I really believe that the music and the part that they were trying to accentuate really did well with the movie. Sometimes less is more. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Angels in the outfield, you know.
Actually,
And when anytime something really cool was going on with John Coffey, the music in the background, it made you, it helped with the scene. It amped up your feelings. It worked really well. So I would say they did a good job with the music. So.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm not saying they did a
what
bad job.
To Delacroix.
But
like with Delacroix, you remember the scene, you know, when everything was just starting to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How everything was leading up to it and stuff. But if you notice that they didn't really play any music when everything was starting to go awry. You know what I mean?
Because they focused on what was happening.
My point. Exactly. It was what led up to it.
True.
And I believe that's what they did. Then they showed what was going on. And
I'm gonna watch this movie later tonight. I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Remember tissues.
Oh yeah.
When it comes down to it, though, there are examples of movies that very few examples though of movies that don't even use any music at all, and when they do, it's actually from the characters themselves, not from anything that they've done. And I think the only movie I know that ever pulled that off well was The Birds, which I promise we'll get into Alfred Hitchcock one of these days. Because, good lord.
Not an expert at all.
The master of suspense.
That dude is alright, yeah, because trust me, we could do a whole damn review on him alone for how he is a great filmmaker, to also how much of a dick he was as a director. No, I'm not even joking, folks. He was an asshole.
A lot of them
he was also a perfectionist, too. So you have to understand that, you know, you're also got to go up there and make it to the point where the suspense is what it is.
Stanley Kubrick also had that problem, but we will not go in too much into the details. I promise that we will.
He terrorized Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna get into that one of these days. But yeah, trust me when I say this, though, guys. We'll get into those guys soon, cause trust me, I have a lot to say on those two. For as much as I love them as directors, they are pieces of shit. All right, so
I'm going to tell you right now, the movie that we need to do is Stanley Kubrick, is because
I already know what you're going to say. I know it.
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket, I knew it.
Wait, which one?
That movie is so messed up.
I mean, because when you see Matthew Modine and DeFornio and Arlie Ermy, and when you start listening to them, how they worked with Stanley at this particular time. It is, you know, the thing is that once you learn what Stanley needs from you, he really doesn't bug you anymore until you get into the character that he needs you to do. He was very relentless in making sure that you get to the character that you need to be.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's how this movie is going to go. Because even in Full Metal Jacket, if you go to The Shining, it was really character centric.
True.
You know, it was huge.
Yeah, and when it comes down to Stanley Kubrick, and yes, I am going to admit this, that even though for as much of an asshole as he was, he did apologize after the film to the actors that he kind of scarred a little bit.
Again, Shelley Duvall.
Not Alfred Hitchcock, though. He didn't care.
That's a lifelong trauma right there, Shelley.
I'm sorry that I traumatized you for life. No.
Hey, at least here's the thing, though. At least he apologized. Alfred Hitchcock never apologized for what he did. He didn't even apologize to the actress he literally sicked birds on.
Oh, but it doesn't matter because this is a movie. This is what you get paid to do. Suck it up, Buttercup. That's what we're here for. That's it.
Even though that also put her in the hospital for over a week.
But you want to know something? She should have ducked.
Well, maybe, but also it was back in the day. Things are a little different than it was. Wasn't it still the 70s and they were trying to make it big and they're
60s.
just. I mean, things were more gotten away with back then. Look at the scandals that are only now being unveiled. This kind of stuff has gone on for a long time, and it just wasn't.
Very true. Very true.
It wasn't public, so just happened.
True. But yeah, honestly, if we're gonna go back to music, though, this is what, like I said, for the reason why I chose both these films is because both of them are set in prisons. They're set in areas where that music needs to really hit its mark. Not only feeling oppressive, but also feel uplifting when certain things go right and depressing when things go wrong. And even though I love The Green Mile for all it's worth, this is actually one of those ones where I think the music is good, but not amazing. And where I say Shawshank Redemption absolutely kicks its ass at.
Yeah, but we're also talking, there's something, but you got to remember, you can't necessarily compare it to the Shawshank Redemption just because they're both in prison. But remember, there are two different points. One talks about life on death row, and one talks about life in general public, in general population. So you really have even two different ways of thinking at this particular point.
Also, the music in Shawshank makes it a little less boring. That movie on its own, without the right music, might not have been as great. So because there didn't have the element of supernatural. Anything weird and out of the ordinary, out of the normal, is going to attract more viewers and you're more likely to pay attention. So Shawshank needed the good music also. Very true.
So if I were to give it a score, I'd give it, again, with only a couple of nitpicks on the soundtrack, I mainly will give it a 9. It's not a 10, but it's most assuredly a 9.
I'm going with the 10 only because I really believe that the use of the music was done at its absolute best. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I believe that it did the setting up. A lot of times that the music will set up, but the only time that you actually kind of hear music is after it was even when John Coffey was, when he said roll on 2, right? You felt the music up until that point, until finally all you could hear was the electricity.
Yeah, exactly.
The electricity in itself was the sound.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, like I said,
it transitioned to that.
True. And like I said, there are most of the film, if not almost all throughout the film, it's just amazing. But yeah, there's a couple of tracks that I think they could have improved on.
And as I said, I agree that because if you're used to, if you want more from what the music is going to do, then yes, because a lot of times the music what actually can make a movie. You could have some of the worst acting in the world, but it's the music in itself that does it. But
True.
This is the time right here that I believe that the music, with the acting, with the special effects, all that wrapped up together actually complement each other. That's well.
Very
That's
true.
the reason why I'm going with it.
All right, what about you, Ingot? What would you give it? Ingot?
Sorry, what are we on? I just got distracted. What happened?
I like that.
We were on music. What would you rate it?
I don't know. For what it is, I'll give it a 10. I mean, I had no complaints about the music, so.
Yeah, my complaints are more nitpicks than they're actually really anything else. It's nothing wrong with the music, though. It's just my personal nitpicks. Something I have to deal with, unfortunately. But trust me, it's not downgrading the film anymore.
Well, no.
Actually,
no
fuck it.
Downgrading it.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it a 10. My nitpicks are so minimal. I don't even know why I was even trying to nitpick it at all. Jesus. Alright, now let's go with design. Now, this is actually kind of interesting because I really do like the sets they used for this film. They did a really good job for really making it look like you were on death row at that time period. And honestly, it's one of those, like I said, though, when it comes down to Stephen King, when he makes his environments, the towns, the cities, and the landscapes he's in, he makes sure to give full details. He's very much a person that wants to do the world building first to get you acquainted with the world before you start going into the story. And I think that's one of his greatest strengths and where it's implemented very well in this movie.
Yeah, well, if you take a look at if you remember the first 3 Star Wars films, right?
Yep.
You know, if you take a look at the first one, they didn't worry too much about how the whole galaxy is going to work. If you notice that the shots were on the characters themselves, right?
Yep.
You know how normally when when they're walking in, you don't necessarily see the full bar as they go walking in. You see certain parts, but if you notice that they really concentrated on the characters is what actually took up the screen. You know what I mean? It wasn't like you didn't necessarily see, you know, too much of everything else. If you take a look, even when they flash back to the 2 girls, and they flash back to the farm. They flash back to these things. But when you start taking a look, it's always about the characters. The characters were up front and in your face. And I think that's another reason why that this film did so well, is because it really was character-centric.
True enough
and
on that.
That's what the thing I most liked about that. And I did like the fact that how they walked you through a day in the life of a prisoner, but it also goes in there and the day in the life when it's your time to walk the mile.
True.
You know what I mean? How they practiced it, how they made it work, and how they did this and how they did that, you know?
Yeah.
It really showed you that daily basis right there, and I thought that was an excellent way to look at it.
True enough. What about you, Ingot? What did you think of the design of the film and how it looked and everything?
Well, it definitely took you back to that time frame. I like how I felt I was in that time instead of, when I was sitting watching it. I remember I watched it on a little ghetto computer back in the day. I didn't even see it in theaters, so it was really good. I like the old-timey feel, and especially, some of the scenes were rough because of all the country scenes were beautiful, but what was happening when it was showing the flashbacks to that was obviously, horrible, but the setting outside was beautiful.
I really like your point there that the flashbacks in itself was very intense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was because if you would have went to flashback, and you could see the beautiful part first, and then it went right to that intensity. That's a great observation.
Oh, ding, ding, ding.
Well, that's because you wouldn't expect something that horrible to happen on a beautiful day like that to 2 beautiful little girls, and some psycho was just passing through and just,
Oh, yeah, hold on. I have to do the ding, ding, ding. We found another Stephen King trope.
You remember how he goes up there, if you say something, I'm going to stab her.
Oh.
If you say something, that right there and alone, because everybody, you felt your heart start really going. And this is where you want to go up there and about ready to jump to the screen and throttle that guy.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we actually have another Stephen King trope. We just found one, the flashbacks. But, however, where unfortunately for Stephen King, he uses sometimes a little too much. In this film, they used it at the right time it needed to be. I wish most of his miniseries and films would do that, but no. This was one of those ones where they used the flashbacks in the best way they could, and not as often. Because seriously, here's an example. Stephen King's miniseries, It. If you were doing the Stephen King drinking game, which, yes, that's a real thing, if you were to drink... basically, if you literally drink to every single time a flashback happens, you'd be dead in the first 12 minutes.
Nice.
That's how bad it was.
But can I tell you something? The whole movie was a flashback.
In a way, yeah, it was a flashback in itself going back to that time period.
We would be drinking from the time that this movie started till the time that we saw Paul at 107.
Yeah, because all these 27-year-olds or these 30-year-olds are having to relive their past that they forgot. So yeah, it is a flashback. They're remembering their childhood that Pennywise wiped out from their mind. So
exactly, and for that one, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because good lord.
This one here is the same thing because he's telling this girl. They said, he goes, that's my punishment, up there because I made John Coffey, ride the light. Like that, it's just something that he infected you with life, you remember that? But he was basically explaining to her how everything led up to right now.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, though,
that was a really neat thing.
All right, so what would you guys score design on this one?
Oh, I thought the design of the film was a 10.
Oh, yeah, it's a 10 for me.
10.
Yeah, 10 for me on this one, guys. It's not even... Alright, and now, the final category, I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, it's gonna be atmosphere, of course, for that category, but I'm already gonna give it a 10. Because... this movie, wow, its atmosphere hits you hard, and when it does, just make sure you bring a box of tissues. Like I said, this is one of those few movies that actually made me cry. The other one being Up during the first 10 minutes.
Oh, don't tell me that's a Disney movie I'm avoiding because, okay, I know it's sad, but I have a childhood friend that I grew up with, and I had to live with her mom for a couple of years. And this woman is one of the toughest, bravest women I've ever known. I've barely seen her show any kind of a sad emotion ever. Like the first time I saw her cry was in the living room watching the beginning of Up, and I decided it wasn't for me. Like if I saw Denise cry, yep, I'm done. I'm not gonna watch it. Like
Basically, for those of you guys who have watched the movie, you all know what I'm talking about. The first 10 minutes of Up, and yeah, if you can make me cry from those 10 minutes alone, that is impressive. Because here's the thing, I don't cry often in films, even when it's need to.
Oh, God.
Where the red fern grows.
Oh my God, that book.
Holy crap.
Oh.
Or hell, if we here's another example, Old Yeller.
Yeah, that's what I said. And what was the other one? Was Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never seen that movie, but the book, I woke my mom up in the middle of the night, like 2:30 in the morning when I finished it. I was about 12 years old, and I was bawling my eyes out. My mom was like, "You finished the book, didn't you, sweetie?" I was like,
"Oh, no!" Good God. But yeah, basically, those are examples of movies that, honestly, and yes, I grew out crying out of those two films, surprisingly. I don't know how I managed to pull that off. But yeah, but when it comes down to Green Mile... yeah, it's one of those ones. And here's the thing. The atmosphere makes you feel these emotions to the fullest extent without completely overwhelming you. And that's very hard to do. And I'm very grateful for each of the actors, the composers, the directors, for really turning this story into an emotional masterpiece. Because if you can get me emotionally invested in a film,
oh yeah,
then you absolutely did something right. And that's really hard. Even ask Master Chief here. It takes a lot to get me emotionally invested in a story.
Oh yeah.
Because even with video games, if we go with video games, even though sure, yeah, some of them you can get invested in, but only when you get emotionally invested is when the story really comes down to it.
I take credit for getting you hooked on Kingdom Hearts. I take full credit for that.
Yeah, actually, side note for you guys, Ingot here was responsible for getting me into RPGs in the first place,
yes,
so you have her to thank.
I remember that, yeah.
It's the reason why I play games.
Ingot, have you ever watched... Hold on, Retro. I just had to ask you one question.
Yeah?
Have you watched some of the trailers for Kingdom Hearts 3? Have you watched some of those? Oh,
I played the game, but I haven't seen the trailers.
All I'm going to tell you right now, there's a bunch of blundering idiots out there. I'm sorry. I'm an old man.
Okay.
I'm old. I'm 53.
Here's the thing, though.
But let me tell you. But I've seen more. Well, actually, I even see people cry for Mega Man when it was part of the DL, you know?
Yeah, DLC for Smash Bros., yeah.
You know, so my point was, I just cannot believe how you could be so emotionally brought into that type, because you got to remember, us old arcaders, we played the video game that was a video game, but we didn't have any emotional attachments to it.
True.
But it was so funny to see, or actually, I guess the realism to see, watching people cry because of a video game.
Here's the thing, though.
And nowadays it depends on the video game, so some of them are so real.
Exactly.
The Last of Us 2. Oh my God. Have you played that? The Last of Us 2? Also, the first Last of Us. I lost my mind.
Okay, I have played it, and I actually think it's a bit of a disappointment.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Is this going to be another show for you and Ingot?
Maybe. We haven't done very many video games yet, but I have a lot under my belt.
One of these days, I will try to get the game and play it. I did play at my friend's house. I was a little bit disappointed, mainly because the story did not go the way I expected it. And even though that should be a good thing, but the way they did it was unfortunately a bit of a downside.
You know, Retro, what you should do, Ingot should go up there and critique the trailers.
Yeah, actually, and to go back to the... Yeah, to go back to what he was talking about earlier, guys, and here's the thing, and this actually goes back to atmosphere and how it is very emotionally invested. Let's look at the Kingdom Hearts 3 reactions. I've seen so many of them where people cried because this game returned. But here's the thing, though. The reason why I know for a fact this would work, because so many people were invested in these characters and have been waiting for the third game to come out for years. They wanted to see how the story was truly going to end. How was it all going to culminate into something grand? And when people saw the trailer, and remember, it's been over a decade since the last game, since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. That is huge for them to drop a bombshell like that out of nowhere. And trust me,
I guess I never understood it only because, I really love the first Kingdom Hearts, and I love it, and I played the second one, but that's where I kind of got lost. There are a bunch of, other Kingdom Hearts games on, portable consoles that I didn't play, so I played 1 and 2, and then there was that huge gap, and then I bought 3 and I played it, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Visually, I loved all the fighting, I loved the specials, but I was like, wow, what's going on? Who's that character? Who's that character?
Yeah.
What is happening? So I actually, at the end of that game, as beautiful as it was, I had no freaking clue what was going on. So, I mean, it does help to play all the games.
Okay, yes, true.
I agree.
Unfortunately.
What they did was they were connecting all the dots.
But
so basically they were using all of those other games that led up to 3 to connect the dots between 1, 2, all of those things. And I think that's what probably the reason why that they were more invested in it compared to some of the other ones that come out after, many years. But this is the one that seemed to really kind of have that, that I guess you would say, because of the characters and the story.
Yeah.
The whole, the way Ingot explained it too. It was just, look at this character, look at this, look at the gameplay, look at everything that you got there. You know, it just seemed like it built up. You know?
When it comes down to it, now let's take a look at stories from RPGs. Let's take a look at, and yes, if any of you say Final Fantasy VII, no, I'm not going to mention it.
I love that game.
The characters suck, except for Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, and Sephiroth are the only ones that actually give a damn.
Vincent Valentine is awesome, and I will fight you.
Don't you try it.
I will.
Let's take a look at Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh wait, please don't spoil anything. I'm supposed to play this game.
No. I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to spoil.
Retro.
But
we might need to save this for a gaming cast.
Yeah,
I know I will, but I know. Just let me finish my point. Jesus. First, That is an example of emotional storytelling, getting invested in the characters, the story, and the music that helps build it up. That's a great example of one of those ones that has emotional storytelling as well as a little bit of logical here and there. It's done well. Same with Chrono Trigger has that same thing. Final Fantasy VI of all games also follows that. And it follows it more than the other two I mentioned. But the point is, if you have the right atmosphere, it can set the tone for the entire movie. And it does, or game, and if as long as it still follows it, it does it well. Green Mile is an amazing example of doing it right. And that is why I'm giving it a 10, because it hits all the right notes in every single point in the film. And I don't think I'll ever be able to top that at all. It's very rare you'll ever find a movie like that.
Well, the thing is that the fact is the atmosphere is the culmination of the four.
Exactly.
That's basically what it is. So the way I look at it is like when Ingot brought up the whole flashback and just how it went from beautiful to intense. To and then you start taking a look at how they developed the characters in themselves. You remember when they flashed on, all they saw was here comes the thing, the truck, and then all of a sudden he comes up and the truck bounces. You still haven't seen the guy yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you have little Percy up there trying to go up there and hit him with the stick, and that's not doing anything over there,
Yeah.
And as he's walking in. So now you see this big of a guy, but when you're taking a look at it, he looked so out of place when he comes out.
Exactly.
But what it did was it set that tone and set that atmosphere of how it was going to be. You knew what Percy was going to do because you could tell by the other guards there looking at him going up there. You need to slow your roll a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything just worked around that. I mean, this is where Stephen King and like I said, when it comes to for me personally, the Stand By Me, you can even say The Shining, Shawshank Redemption, and these four movies kind of really point out that. Because the flashbacks were used at the appropriate time. Everything kind of culminated on it. That's the reason why I'm giving it a 10.
Yeah. And what about you, Ingot? What would you give atmosphere for this film?
10.
Well,
I mean, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, we should have saw this coming. A perfect score all straight through. But again, not surprised.
I guess lower on purpose, thinking maybe I would.
I originally gave it lower because I thought my nitpicks were going to actually affect my score. But surprisingly enough, my nitpicks were so damn minuscule, there was no excuse for me to give it anything lower than a 10. This is one of those rare moments I had to rescind.
I'm going to be honest. I really thought that Ingot was going to keep it to 45. The only reason why is because she has, the inside knowledge with the book.
But that's the thing is that those two, the movies we're covering today, are actually two movies that I agree with 100% on the storytelling from the book to the movie. So, as soon as we get off topic, we're talking about It and The Shining and stuff. Yeah, totally different ball game there.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They did an excellent job with these two movies, and even the other one you keep bringing up, Stand By Me, they did a good job with that movie too. Because they're his short stories. They're not his It is 1,095 pages, and they tried to make that into a movie. I mean, that's a huge book.
There's no way. It's almost impossible. You're going to miss something that is very, very important to the story and to the lore of everything.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, then it really doesn't make sense for
even with two parts to the miniseries back in the 90s and two movies, they still couldn't. That book itself was so supernatural, they couldn't portray it properly. Neither movie did.
You know how cool.
But they did fill in. But however, here's
1,000. Hold on, Retro. Hold on. What I'm saying is, wouldn't it have been nice if they would have went up there and turned it into maybe a 2-season, like a TV series,
like an HBO series. HBO when they want to. Yes, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, because then you can tell the whole story, but you can tell it over maybe 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because actually
there it is. That's the HBO, Netflix, Hulu.
Let's start our own network. We'll start pumping out good stuff. Yeah.
Hold on.
Exactly.
Let me give a good example of this. Like Star Wars: The Clone Wars. For those of you guys watching, Star Wars: The Clone Wars not only bridges the gap between 2 and 3, but develops the characters in such a way and explains a lot of the stories that were mentioned throughout the entire series. It shows you just how much they really did that well. And again,
is that the love story one? The one I always fall asleep for? Yeah.
But
here's the thing, though.
Nathaniel, Retro, you were right. This is a perfect example of the reasons why you need, like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Definitely went up there, and it connected so many of the dots. It made it so much better to understand the story and the lore behind it. I agree.
If we take a look at, because here's the thing. In Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Anakin, he's fixed. Same with Padme. She's fixed. She's great now. Same with Anakin. Obi-Wan, you thought he was perfect before? He's even better now. When it comes, and look at Mace Windu and all the Jedi. All of them are given development, and all of them actually feel like real people nowadays in this war. Yoda is even better. Jar Jar, okay, yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch, but he is a little bit more improved, but even just slightly better than he was in the first movie.
Understand why everybody
And that's
hates
saying a
him
lot.
so much. He's not that bad.
Trust me, he got better in the Clone Wars, even if it was only slightly.
Oh, no, that's true. And I agree with Retro here. Is the fact is how they developed them as characters, and I really believe that is what set it apart. Because me and Retro used to watch the Clone Wars all the time.
And you and I both know that the story was so much better in that freaking series than it ever was in the movies.
But here's the real.
Oh wait, I'm thinking of a different thing. I guess I thought you were talking about the second.
Oh no!
The
Fuck that
movies,
movie.
And I didn't understand.
We're talking about the cartoon series.
I thought the second movie was the clones or something.
Yeah,
so
it
I
is.
was confused. I'm sorry.
Yes, basically,
The difference is
after
with
Attack of the Clones, there was the Star Wars: The Clone Wars series that happened in between 2 and 3.
Okay, that's why I'm confused. I totally missed out on that one. So.
And actually, here's another thing.
Wait till you
It didn't.
watch it. It's
Really
good.
But yeah, here's the thing. It wasn't just telling the story of Anakin, Padme, and all the other characters, including the new one, Ahsoka. It was also telling the story through the clones' perspective.
Yeah.
What the war was like for them, how they had to fight on the front lines with the Jedi in the war. It really was, and it is personally one of my favorite Star Wars series you'll ever see. And they already finished season 7, which closes out right to the point when the Jedi execution, the execution of the Jedi happened.
But I will tell you one thing, Ingot, the thing that I like, and Retro hit on it too, it breaks it up. Not only that you're hearing from the clone, you're hearing from the Jedi, but you're also hearing from the Empire. Those
I haven't heard of this series. Is it an animated series?
It's an animated series. Trust me, watch it.
That's why it hasn't been on my radar. I'm like, how have I not seen this? I guess that's why. So, okay.
Actually, before
Not that I don't know animated stuff, but I don't know. I'm not that into Star Wars, so I bet you Mr. Ingot has seen it. So.
Oh yeah, trust me, you'll love it.
What we're saying is that if you take like what Retro was saying, and what I think we all agreed upon right here is the fact that if you could be able to take the It series, you can even do it in a cartoon way too. But I think that it needs to be a series, an actual series.
Live action.
That one, the 1,098 page book could probably last 10 years.
Oh my God! If they did it in a cartoon series, they could actually do the weird shit that's in the book.
Exactly.
That is true.
because then you can put, like he said, live action to whatever you need, and then you can be able to build it up from there. But I think, could you imagine it as a cartoon? So
actually,
it would. Yeah, I could be down with that.
Actually, hang on. Here's a good. Actually, before we continue on to Shawshank Redemption, let's take a look at another cartoon series that was based on a horror film, Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I watched both of them, and I loved that cartoon back in the day. I watched so much Beetlejuice as a kid, but the movie's great too.
Tim Burton had a hand in it.
But know the reason why, because I think the cartoon stayed very true to the movie. You know what I mean? Very seldom do they go, they always like to go a little bit more outlandish, a little bit more this. But I really thought that Beetlejuice, the actual cartoon, was actually more in tune with the movie.
I also really like the Ghostbusters cartoon. I love the movie, but the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Slimer was a good guy in the cartoon, and I couldn't. When I watched the movie, I was like, wait, we're scared of Slimer? What's happening? Like that.
No, but Slimer had to be taught to be good.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, do you remember the high seas that they had for Ecto Cooler?
Yes, with the Slimer on it. Yes. Oh my god.
Ecto Cooler. They brought that back actually, from what I remember.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. But
I can't wait to see the new movie. It's gonna be out next year, I think.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get back on to Shawshank Redemption after that long trip of nostalgia.
We had 350s, right? We had 350s on Green Mile.
All right, so.
Yes.
Now we're going to go on to Shawshank Redemption. What do you guys think your scores are going to be by the end of this review?
50.
50 for me.
50. It's absolutely, it's going to be 50. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
If I could score it higher, I would. So.
Yeah, trust me, guys. This is actually one of those ones I know is going to be a 50 for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's start off with story. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, there is a bit of a running theme here. Prison. Criminals. But however...
Wrongfully accused.
Actually, this is where I like Shawshank better. Because that one you don't even know if he was really guilty of the crimes he did or not.
Yes, you do.
No, they find out he's guilty as hell in the movie.
He's not guilty.
The book is not. The book is more subtle on it.
No. Andy
The
Dufresne is not guilty at all. You must have not watched it.
Because there's a part in the movie, Retro,
Gil.
that one of there was a transfer from another prison to there, and
That he
this
made
guy
friends
goes
with.
up there, and they started talking about it. The reason why that kid died was the fact that he was going to say something, and this would have got Andy Dufresne out of prison.
And it would have made the warden look really bad. Do you remember the kid that came in and he felt like really stupid? He had a wife
I'm
and
sorry.
a
I was
baby
thinking of a
out on the
different movie.
outside.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I do remember that part.
We're talking Shawshank Redemption. Get your brain into the Shawshank Redemption.
Sorry, I was thinking of a different movie.
I'm doing this and I'm playing Borderlands. What is wrong with you?
Oh, very funny.
Oh, that's where you were at the first part.
Oh no. That time that I didn't remember is actually because my men came in from outside and distracted me.
Your men came in there and.
Oh yeah. Okay. For what it's worth, though, yeah, the story is very good, and good lord, I don't really think there's really much to say, other than that they absolutely did every single thing right here with the story. They made sure that it was very cohesive. It stuck with the main characters. But at the same time, it also showed you what happens to some prisoners who, when they do get released, don't adjust that well into the real world. And how it can be very tough for some people.
Yeah, Brooks. But let's take a look at the movie's premise, okay? When you start taking a look at everything, so if you take a look like in The Green Mile, you can say that it was supernatural, right? It was the John Coffey. This is what he was able to do. But if you take a look at Andy Dufresne, right? Andy Dufresne, if you take a look at everything, and he says it in the movie, it's hope. The movie in itself is hope. That you have to have that desire, that passion, to say that hope, no matter what, will always be all, and then everything kind of built around that. Take a look at, remember the library?
Yep.
Remember he was writing 2 letters a month or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
He got this huge library.
That's because he upped it up to every week to annoy them, and then he got it.
Yeah, exactly. You remember how they were drinking beer?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The last day of tarring the roof?
You remember how he earned that? Like he bribed that guy. He was listening. He was over to the guy talking about his problem, and he was he helped him. That's how he got in good with the prison, the staff, because he started doing everybody's taxes. because he was a bank snob. What do they call him? Like, are you the bank killer? Are you that bank snob? So, like, he started doing everybody's taxes and got in good with everybody, and that's how he earned everybody beer, was, And, okay, wait, that guard, before we go any further, that prison guard that dangles him over the roof, that's all like, mad, the guy that's kind of a hard ass?
Yeah.
He is the voice of Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, yeah.
That's that guy.
Clancy Brown, yeah. Oh, yeah. Guess what? He's also the voice of Dr. Neo Cortex in Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, my goodness.
What?
Oh,
I haven't played Crash Bandicoot.
He also plays... also, in the same game, he's also the voice of... Uka Uka.
Nice.
The evil Tiki Mask.
Yeah, now you have to. But when you start taking a look at like, we'll go with the story here, too. Now, he talked about a point that you're institutional, retired from the Coast Guard, as a Master Chief, so there you go, is the fact that, trying to transition out. The longer you stay in any military service, the more you get institutionalized to that. So when, for me...
Basically, you get so accustomed to the whole thing.
Well, when you leave, and then all of a sudden, here you are, talking to, everything from CEOs of companies, you're talking to politicians, you're talking to admirals and generals and captains and colonels, and your voice had meaning and authority, kind of like how Brooks was.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, all of a sudden, you take a look when you're going out there's really nothing. When he says, these walls are haunted, first you hate them, then you get kind of used to it, then pretty soon you come to depend upon it. Brooks in here. Brooks was a big man in here, Brooks was. Out there, he's nothing. He can't even get himself a library card. That's institutionalized. That was a very big part, because he goes, I can't piss a drop until I ask permission to go.
True enough. And it's a very strong...
That?
It's also...
when he was working in the grocery store.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's also a real thing that unfortunately does happen to many people in prison. Sometimes they get so accustomed to the walls and all the routines and everything that it becomes almost impossible to adjust. And the movie actually does a really good job of mirroring real life, which has its own scare factor in a way.
But Ingot made a really good point, too. I really like the fact that how he was able to work his way in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How he was able to work his way in. Kind of like how he started out. He started out with the prison guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right over there. And that got the beer and that curried favor. And the thing is, if you take a look, everything was based off the fact that, he never worried about anything, because he always believed that there was going to be hope. It was always, he was always going to be presumed innocent,
Yeah. Well, that is until he broke out.
Well, but the thing is take a look. The only reason why they never moved his poster, because they trusted DeFrank.
Yeah. They never had cause to move it until he disappeared, though. There was no reason to.
True. Not to mention...
The funny part was, he wouldn't have thrown that, if he wouldn't have thrown the chess pieces and it went through, they would still never have checked it.
I know, it would have been a mystery.
Actually,
it would have been a mystery this whole time.
Actually, the escape actually kind of reminds me of the story what happened in Alcatraz with the two brothers. And basically, you know what I'm talking about. It was actually done in the Mythbusters episode. The escape from Alcatraz. Apparently, two brothers, along with one other cellmate, built a raft out of raincoats, dug themselves through the wall with something covering it, like in Shawshank, and actually escaped through the building, got onto shore, got on the boat, and rowed themselves out of Alcatraz, and supposedly they escaped.
They're the only known ones to ever. Usually people would just die.
Yeah, and the thing is, it is the only known recorded case of anyone escaping Alcatraz. Everyone else has tried, ended up dead or became shark food.
Did you know Alcatraz means pelican?
How about this? Out of the parts of the story, I'll be honest with you, the part of the story that I kind of like, a lot. I thought the character development, with Dufresne and Red was good. But the part of the story that I really kind of liked is how he took that young kid under his wing.
Yeah, but that ended so badly. That's what was shitty about that. So.
I get that, and if you notice in this movie that the flashbacks were less.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't flash back as far, right? It was mostly just supposedly the night of when he murdered his wife, and then when he met Gil, and when Gil was recounting, talking to that old cellmate of his. That was it. They weren't like real huge flashbacks. They were just like almost like just memories, recent memories. It was cool.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Did you notice that Red didn't get a flashback, or none of them?
The only people that directly had something to do with Andy's backstory and why he was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I thought. That was the reason why I thought the relationship between Gil and Dufresne meant more, because they were the only two with the flashback.
True. So, what would you guys give the score on story of 1 to 10?
10.
10.
10.
If this keeps up, we're not.
An easy one.
Here's the thing. But here's the thing, though.
Easy.
If this happens, we may not be able to do a Retro Evolution this time.
Why? What's a Retro Evolution again? I forgot.
We only do it whenever there's a score less than 50.
Oh.
And right now, I'm already thinking we're gonna give a 50 score for this movie too.
Well, what? This will be your first RetroActive's corner that did not necessarily need a Retro Evolution.
Yeah, that's definitely Actually, no, it's not the first.
No,
it's the second.
Oh.
Actually, no. No, this is the first.
Yes, this is the first.
Holy shit. All right. So, now we go on to characters. They had a really good cast. God bless it, yeah.
Characters are 10 just because I think even the supporting cast, even the ones that did not necessarily have all the lines and everything else like that, I'm just saying that everything worked beautifully together. It was another one where it was still an emotional story, right? But
True.
It still followed a very logical but linear timeline, and
exactly.
He went forward,
The guy who plays the leader of the sisters, and he's like, I can be a friend to you.
God.
Like, oh my god, he was.
And here's the thing, though.
Good ass, everybody.
And here's the thing, though, about this film. In this film, every character, just like in Green Mile, is important. From the side characters to the main characters to the villains, all of them are important to the story. And to set a good example, let's look at Chrono Trigger, for example. Each and every character in your party is important to the story. Each one of them has their own motivations, but they all lead you to the central plot of defeating Lavos in the story. Just like in this one, where every character that you meet along the movie, each one of them has their own story, but they all converge onto this one cohesive plot. And that is something that is very impressive that most films don't normally do.
You know what I found was right there was the fact that how things switched to Dufresne is when the sisters, right? When the leader of the sisters just got the living with Jesus. It was the last time he walked out anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
By Mr. Krabs himself, beat him to a bloody pulp.
But if you take a look at what he did to Dufresne and take a look on how they protected Dufresne.
Yeah, because he was already in good with them doing their taxes, and also, like, I don't know, they fucked him up too hard, and they're like, no, not okay, you don't mess with one of our guys, he's making sure we get all our money, you are going to pay for this! Exactly,
and that's what it was. And then, did you notice how the other guards were bringing in their taxes?
Oh yeah, he had a line every year. They gave him his own office, and he got so busy they let him have a staff. So a couple of guys, remember Red, got to help him out during tax time.
Yes. And here he is, and there he had this whole thing, and they had they named the Brooks Library, the one that Dufresne brought in and stuff like that. But did you always notice right over there is that we talk about the religious. You remember the religious? Oh, it wasn't hard, right? But you remember what it says on his wall right over there. The day your because it covers the safe, your judgment will come up.
Oh, the warden. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His judgment did cometh.
It did come. Yeah, exactly. And then he opened up the book and said the word Exodus, and there was the rock hammer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, also, but I mean, his safe, when he goes back in and he realizes he opens it up, and instead of finding his books, he finds Andy's old his old shoes. Like, he took his nice shoes and put it in. I don't know. It was just an awesome thing.
But how'd you like that when Red goes up there? How many times do you take a look at a man's shoes?
Not often enough for him.
Not often enough, right over there. He polished those shoes to a nice shine.
True enough. Like I said, though, the characters are done incredibly well here, and like I said, each one is important to the story, which, as well as the overall theme and message of the story. And honestly, that's pretty impressive to really pull that off. And like I said, the actors did incredibly well here. And not to mention, this is also one of Morgan Freeman's best roles, in my personal opinion.
This movie is the reason that people want him to narrate things now, because he did such a good job on this movie that everybody wants to hear him narrate anything now. And you know what I love?
Well,
also, he's Vitruvius in the Lego movie, and I see a lot of that. I love him as Vitruvius, so just saying.
Oh, yeah, the thing I liked about Morgan Freeman is just the way he told the story. The way he told the story is what really kept it moving. He was the linear part of this whole movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was his commentary that really made it go. If you notice his commentary, how he started out with talking about Dufresne, and then how he's so excited that he gets to see his friend again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, guys, how about you keep... how about you guys continue talking about characters? I will be right back. All right? I just need to grab something.
Tim Robbins was really great too. I felt like they worked really well together, and I liked how he came in and he won everybody over, and all of Red and everybody was kind of a little bit in awe of him. They're like, look at what he has done. So I really liked that dynamic and what they showed about that too. So.
And the thing is, Dufresne, because he was so quiet, but he had this air of confidence. It was just like what he said. He was hunkered down in the shade. Had this really crazy grin on. It was just a nice grin, and going up there and watching us drink his beer. And then remember when the guy walked up there and hands him a cold one, he says, "I gave him drink," and he goes, "I like how Red goes. Maybe he was trying to find curry with a pond."
No, that's not what it was. He just wanted to feel normal for once instead of a prisoner.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree, and that was, and you notice that was the last part there, but it was that type of commentary that we just talking about it. I think really kind of just helped that. It just helped the story along. I go, if they did not have Red narrating it, I don't think that this movie. I think the movie would have fell flat on it.
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, true. They picked the right guy for all that.
Oh yeah, they did. And the guy who played Brooke, I mean he is.
Oh man, he was awesome too.
Oh my God, yeah.
I did get emotional the same way as the Green Mile, but the Brooks part was emotional a little bit. I couldn't help it. So, yeah.
It was the fact that he went up there and when you wrote Brooks was here, I
and
thought.
And then when Red goes and he sees it, oh man. When he gets out,
and I like how Red either get busy living or get busy dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the thing is that with Brooks, you know, I would never have thought that was going to happen for Brooks. You know what I mean? In a sense.
Well,
but,
I don't know. It was
a
little more predictable for him because he'd lived there for so long. He lost his family in a sense. So, and then he came out and everything was too fast, like the cars. Working at that store, he had to answer to that little boy who didn't want him to ask to go to the bathroom every time, but he couldn't help it. He was like programmed that way now, so he couldn't handle the real world. And it was sad how he wrote Brooks was here, but I like that Red was here too, but he moves on and he goes forward. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that was, and the thing is that Red. The thing I liked about it is, like you said too, is that when Red went up there and put his name up there too, and I think that was an ode to his friend.
Yes.
You know what I mean? An ode to his friend, and I think that he took that as, I'm going to get busy living. You know, and I think that was a kind of a big thing because, you know, this is the only time that he got to see Brooks is basically what he wrote. You know, and they were really good friends in the movie. Yeah. You know.
Well, everybody loved Brooks.
Oh yeah, everybody did. I mean, he was a character that you could follow, that you could like. You know, now you understood the reason why he was a leader of the people there at the cons, where his word had a lot of meaning. You know, he could go up there and say something, and these younger men and stuff like that would still listen to him because he was there. Yeah. You know, another thing that I thought was kind of neat too was just watching the era through the posters.
Oh yeah.
You remember, because each time you Rita Hayworth, and then pretty soon, what was the last one? Raquel Welch, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and you can see the different eras, and you can see the different ones as you're going through.
I do like that. I don't remember all their names, though. The only one I remember is the first one, because the book, the short story is actually called The Shawshank Redemption and Rita Hayworth. Or Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. That's what it is. They shortened it for the movie, so...
It is,
but it's all because really... she, and it was funny that they put that in the title, because that's what gets him out, was her poster,
Exactly. You know, what's funny is that, you know, if you could, because if you take a look at all of the, you know, of the superstar, you know, the super Hollywood, you know, leading ladies and stuff like that, right? You know, Rita Hayworth was the only one that they showed. You know what I mean? It's not like all you saw was Rita Hayworth. You remember how she flipped back the hair and everybody waited for her?
Oh, yeah, because they showed the movie. They showed when they were watching movie night, so... And that's when he got the idea, and he asked Red if he could get her for him. He's like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that for you, but...
Exactly.
So, yeah. I like how it's a slow setup the whole time. It's just, you're just watching a movie where it just looks like these guys are making the best of their life in prison, and they're just doing their thing, and then it's only at the end you realize that he had his, wheels spinning the whole time. He was planning this,
Yes. Or how he goes out there and he goes, he liked to take pieces of his tunnel and going out there and take a handful at a time.
Yeah.
You know, so he drops it outside, you know.
But you didn't know that at first, because Red would always say he was walking peacefully, thoughtfully on his own. That's just what he liked to do. And at the end, you find out it's because he's shaking tunnel out of his pants.
His pants. You know, and he does it he does two handfuls because he keeps his hands in his pocket.
Yeah.
So he goes out there like that, then he drops it, then all of a sudden here he goes out and stuff. I just thought it was neat. You know, the thing is that you take a look at that but you take a look also Dufresne when he took on the sister. He took on the sister in a sense. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he had help from anybody else. They just went up there and he just took on the sister. What I thought was you know, you can just see it was one man against everything. You know what I mean? So once the sisters were out of the way, it was really the man versus, I guess you would say, not necessarily probably the system, but really the warden. Because the warden, the guy that they have played the warden, he just did a fantastic job.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, that guy was also in Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls.
Exactly. Yep.
And he's the guy that doesn't like it when he touches his eyeball. He's like, oh, God, stop it. My brother used to do that to me.
See, the thing is that, you see so many great things that are in this movie and stuff. But did you notice the correlation, too? What happened in The Green Mile? It was a flicker show. You remember he wanted to watch a flicker show? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was watching an old, let me see, Rita Hayworth and Fred Astaire. Heaven, I'm in heaven.
Wait, was that Rita Hayworth, or was that Ginger Rogers?
It could have been Ginger Rogers, but let me look it up. What is it? Hold on.
I guess I just thought Fred Astaire usually went along with Ginger Rogers, so I could be wrong.
Well, let's see. The Fred Astaire right here. So we're gonna just take a look at his movies and stuff like that, and then what we can do is try to figure out when. Let's see. Because the thing is, if it is, it would make sense. Because wouldn't that be nice if there was, how would you put it?
Like a weird little crossover?
Yes.
I don't know what they say. In video games, it's like oh God. I can't remember.
Oh, I know.
An Easter egg, a weird Easter egg to find? I don't know, there's
yeah. No, but I just thought that was, let's see, Fred Astaire, and let's see, what did I say, Rita Hayworth?
Yeah, Hayworth, I think.
Hayworth. Okay. I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rita Hayworth, like Fred Astaire's dancing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm gonna say. And I'll figure it out here, next, is the thing that what if it was, because so I'm trying to remember, it was the Shawshank Redemption, then it was the Green Mile.
Oh yeah, Shawshank was, like I said, I watched that with Dawn Marie when I was like 12 years old, so Green Mile came out a little after that, but they're still both great movies from the 90s.
But yeah, definitely from the 90s, but the part that I'm thinking of, that what makes it, the both movies together, was the fact that Rita Hayworth was in both.
Yep. How you guys doing?
Good.
How you doing?
Yeah, I just had to grab something. All right, so now we're done discussing characters, because, good Lord. Let's get on to... Yeah, let's go and do...
Oh, wait a second. Pen.
Yeah, 10.
I already put it down.
Okay.
Now let's go on to music. Again...
We already know your score on this one.
Yeah, music is just absolutely amazing in this film. 10 for me. Because it really sets the tone throughout the whole story. It shows you the despair as well as, of course, the uplifting moments. And times it just right when they need to be in the story. Which I'm very grateful they managed to take a really good amount of time to look at the details of where to put the music at and when should it happen.
I think this is the reason why I think The Green Mile did so well too, is because I think really the Shawshank Redemption perfected it in a sense. Because as I said, a lot of times you don't necessarily, it's kind of, you remember the time that he locked himself. Remember he got all of the books and he got all of the stuff from, just they could writing him. But you remember when he started playing the opera for everybody?
Yep. Oh yeah, and he locked that guy in the bathroom and then turned it on the loudspeaker for the whole prison to hear.
Yeah.
When most of them hadn't heard music in how long?
Yes.
They just finally just heard this operatic voice over the loudspeakers, and they all loved it, and just the banging, and he spent a month in solitary for that little trick too.
True.
But remember, he always says the word hope. But remember, the one thing that he did was he created that, he created that there for everybody. You know what I mean? And then you remember what Red said, right? It was the most beautiful that they've ever heard. You remember we get back to the narration. So really, I mean, even though it was a music part in there, but that music, that one playing and that little bit right there, made such a huge impact on the movie.
Very true.
I just want to throw this out here before I forget. I love this movie. All the Stephen Kings. I also I love me some Seth MacFarlane and Family Guy. There's a movie, not a movie, an episode. I think it's in season 8 of Family Guy, and it's called The Three Kings. And Stephen Griffin is like a. Peter Griffin is like narrating, and he's doing like a Masterpiece Theater thing, and they cover Stand By Me and The Shawshank Redemption and Misery, and it's amazing, and you guys need to watch it. It's so funny.
Oh God, another Stephen King film. I promise
you will laugh your asses off.
That is for Misery. I love the movie, and now I'm afraid of it because I feel like that one of these days I'll have one of those fans that will be so damn obsessed I'll be terrified. So it's become a little bit of reality for me now.
I just tell you one thing right now. I'm not dogging the movie at all. Really, I'm not. But I go honestly, I really wasn't a fan of Misery. Love Bright Green Tomatoes, but was not really a fan of Misery.
I love Kathy Bates, and right now I am actually wearing a shirt that my fiance got for me, and it's Annie Wilkes, and she's holding a cup that says #1 fan. Okay?
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that movie, but the movie is not scary compared to the book. That Annie Wilkes is she's way scarier in the book. Way. We should cover that one. We should do that.
Okay. Well, how about this? We're
Let's just cover all of Stephen King eventually.
Oh yeah, that's the. But here's the thing. Though. That's the reason why I'm making September here Stephen King month, because it gives us plenty of time to look over every year. We will review a Stephen King movie on this month.
It doesn't have enough time. There's not enough days in September to review everything, let alone just every weekend. Come on, man.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's a theme month.
He has more books than there are days in this month.
I know.
You know what's funny is...
It gives us more material to work with.
Retro would have to have a daily retroactive corner just for Stephen King.
I know, God, I have to work a regular job. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Otherwise, I totally would.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, that's just my curse. But yeah, when it comes down to...
He's thinking about it. He is thinking about it. You can see it. He's thinking about it.
We can hear it.
That would be a total
because he's thinking, he goes, you know what? I could do it 7 days a week just to make sure we can cover a good amount of ground.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, can you just see me like, hey guys, can I start taking a 2-hour lunch this day ever? Unless you still do it on a weekend, like, I don't know, cause like I don't know.
That's the reason why I made itself a dedicated month.
Like 2 hours, you can do an hour.
Also, maybe not at 2 in the afternoon. We'd have to do it later. So.
Here's the thing. But here's the thing. This is the reason why I have it as a dedicated month. That way, that in the future, we could cover more Stephen King in the future.
So, like, next year, too? Okay.
Exactly. It's going to be a yearly thing. Every month, every September, we're doing Stephen King month.
Okay.
Trust me. It's going to happen again. This is a dedicated month now.
Okay. So
we're still on music because you guys had to diverge from that last one right there.
Music is 10.
10. I'm not surprised. All right, here we go. We're going on to design, and I love the prison. The prison itself looks amazing. It's actually really cool.
I mean, if you had to be in a prison, I guess that's the where to go to. Like, no.
Oh yeah.
It makes you feel like you're in that. I think it definitely has that awesome design of the prison. It definitely feels like you could definitely see something like that when you go to a older town in the U.S.
Yeah, because one of the originators of Retro's Active Hot Tub on Discord, he was actually there. He actually, I was reading that on the Discord that he was actually at, and took a tour of where they did the filming for the Shawshank Redemption.
I would love to do that.
What do you know which prison it really was?
Give me a half a second here. See if I can get on.
I'm away from my computer at the moment. No.
Honestly, I would love to go for a tour there.
Okay, so it says DJ Keyblade says, so I actually went to Mansfield Prison where they filmed Shawshank Redemption a couple of months back and did a private tour.
So they're not doing a private tour anymore?
No. It's just a couple of months ago.
Oh, so they're still doing it. Oh, that's great.
You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah.
One of these days, we'll have to actually go around and check out the place. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Wait, where did you say it was again, though? Mansfield where?
They only wrote it was in Mansfield, but I think it's supposed to be in New York. I'm thinking. I don't remember. So here, let me try to look it up. Okay.
Hold on, I'll look it up too.
Okay, Mansfield prison. Here we go. It's in Mansfield Prison is in. Oh, actually, it's in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You can go visit now. No. I mean, you're close enough, right? You're in Connecticut, so you could. Like,
yeah, it's the Ohio State Reformatory.
We all.
Hey, you're closer to it than I am. Just saying.
Well, then we all have to meet in Ohio. Everybody, we just all meet in Ohio, and then we can all go up there and see if Brooks was here. So anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely Ohio State Reformatory.
Well, I think that would be a really great, as I said, it's really going to be nice because then you can get the feel. So you get the design. When you start taking a look at the design of everything, it was nice that how they went up there. They still had the field. If you take a look at how it started out and everything, but if you take a look how you had to go to the field, with the rock walls, and if you're anywhere on the east side over here, the northeast, it doesn't matter what part of the state you go into. You see, like here in Connecticut, you'll drive down and you'll see lots of properties that have these rock walls that have been built, centuries. That kind of divide the different plots of land and stuff like that too. Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, they all have those types of stuff that's there, even in New York. So it was kind of neat. And then I like how they used his thing with for rock. How they were able to go up there. You remember that nice black stone that covered this?
Yeah.
And then how they went up there and he went down to,
you should look for a stone that has no place being there. It's gonna look out of place from every other stone. Yeah. And then and then he bought that compass, right? He went down, figured it out, pulled it up, and then there it was, that black. It's almost like onyx. That was that obsidian or something. Stone. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you pulled it up, and there it was, and there it is. He gave him money to go up there, like he was going to be the only person that was ever going to see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And only because he went looking for it because he was instructed to. He knew where to go.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
True enough.
But if you take a look, I really still think back at the design still really, if you take, to me, I look at the design too by just saying it's also how they utilize Morgan Freeman as the narrator. You know what I mean? Because that is a design function right there. True. I mean, what he did was he always brought scenario based, but everything at the end always pointed back to Andy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, remember how he talked, he was going to gain favor, he's going to gain favor here, but no, he wanted to be like a regular human.
He shouldn't have been there, and he was just trying to make the best of it any way he could, so.
Yes. And if you always listen to him, most birds, like being in here, need to go out and fly, and do all these other different things. But he always talked about Dufresne as probably the last part of his narration. And it was always in a good light. It was never in a negative light at all.
True. So what would you guys rate the design of this film?
10.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, though, I think I'm give it a 10, not just for the look, but to think that they use an actual reformatory prison as the actual set. That is saying a lot. They must have had to pull a lot of strings just to even do that. So that definitely says a lot.
They probably were able to go up there, and because a lot of times, because when I was in the Coast Guard, we had up in Port Angeles, we had a film crew come in for the Hunt for Red October.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And those guys would do almost anything to make sure everything was set the way it needs to be. If they had to run new line or run new cables, run new electrical, whatever it took to go up there. But their job was to kind of make it either better or, you know what I mean, to make improvements on things so it could be able to handle for what they're going to need to do and stuff.
True enough.
But, I mean, I think the same thing here is that they would have probably fixed it up and then make it look old, you know, because for the safety and everything else. So that means that this prison will probably last even years down the line because they were able to go in there and probably do a lot of sprucing up. You know what I mean?
Very true. And as you guys can see, there's Tazzy right here.
Yeah, we can see Tazzy.
I'm away from the computer. I need to go look. I'm missing my cat fix. Yeah. I came home with a magazine earlier. Woo!
All right. Here we go. Now
I'm
we're
not
finally
allowed to have a new cat, so I'm going to look at as many as I can.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're finally on the last category, atmosphere. And for what it's worth, the atmosphere in this film is done incredibly well. Just like I said in The Green Mile, it sets the tone for the whole film and manages to do it just right enough to have just the right amount of comedy to, you know, bring up the levity of the film, but have enough to see just how hard life in the prison was going to be like. And even shows that freedom doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. It's not going to be that simple. And the atmosphere fills that out.
Did you guys notice the starting of each film basically come back to their feet? You know what I'm trying to say? You know, it seemed like you know, they both concentrated on the walk of the person. You remember how they basically start from the ground and they kind of both work their way up on both characters.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how close of, were they directed at all by the same people, or did the directors just decide to do that with both movies? Because that'd be weird.
I'll double check.
Well, the thing is that I think the reason why it's this is that if you start taking a look, if Shawshank Redemption tells you what's in general population, right, then you take a look at if you take a look at the next movie had nothing to do with general population. It had everything to do with
Actually,
right?
They were directed by the same person.
So there's the connection.
Yeah, Frank Darabont
awesome.
is the one responsible for both films.
Wait, who? Frank Darabont? Do you know that's Dale? He's Dale from The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one who directed both
awesome.
Films.
Oh, there you go. That guy's amazing, and props to him, because those are both amazing movies, and he was amazing in The Walking Dead, and he had a too early exit, so...
I think I found it. Let's see.
And you know, he got ousted off The Walking Dead because he had, like, a conflict with some of the other writers, so they kind of wrote him off the show, which was sad.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, basically,
he deserved a better death than he got.
Oh yeah, but yeah, basically, it's pretty interesting though, for what it's worth. But yeah, when it comes down to the atmosphere, I think they did a fantastic job. When you felt the pressure of some of the characters, what they're going through, you feel the emotion that comes from every single scene that happens, not just with the main characters, but with the side characters as well. You feel their anguish, their terror, their fear, as well as their hopes, their excitement when things go right, and of course, when you see justice served. And in the end, I think that's one of the few times I can say it really does well on that front.
Okay, and so it was Ginger Rogers. Okay, so I was wrong. I thought it was Rita Hayworth, but it was
I'm
it was,
right,
it
dude.
was
The only reason I thought that is because Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers go together, so I thought they were the pair. So
that's true, but I know that most of the Hollywood actresses of the day all knew how to dance too. So Rita Hayworth would be somebody that Fred Astaire would be dancing with. I just was trying to make a connect to see if there was a correlation, because I thought it was Rita Hayworth that was doing that doing that dance scene with Fred Astaire. So it's actually Ginger Rogers. So that was my fault right there.
Yeah, no worries, man. All right, so for full
that was
on,
a tiny little mess up. It's nothing. So
yeah, but yeah, for the full on atmosphere, what would you guys score it?
50, 10.
All right, so.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the reason why the atmosphere works, we go back to the Green Mile, it goes back to the first four.
Don't you grin at us. Now I can see you. I turned my computer on.
Yeah, but my point is that the first four categories sets up the atmosphere. Sometimes the atmosphere, even though you might grade it a little bit lower on the first four, you can still give it a 10 for overall. But really, the first four really kind of, you don't give 4 10s, and then all of a sudden atmosphere will not be a 10. You know what I mean? I just think that just like with the Green Mile, everything worked. Just like what Retro said, everything worked because everything was done not only on this emotional plane. This is where they were at through the movie. Mm-hmm. So I agree with that, and I think because of that there. And the way the narration kept it linear and kept it moving logically, that I think that's what really, to me, that was kind of like 2 huge points of it.
True. All right, so since we had a complete sweep of 50s on both films, we cannot do a Retro Evolution this time around. I'm very sorry.
No, it's okay. Doesn't that just mean that we're the best critics ever and we don't need one? I mean,
no, it's more like these movies are too good.
Oh, sorry.
These movies are too good. You can't criticize them.
It is very hard. And, the thing is that it was...
When we get to the Power Rangers, don't worry. We'll have plenty to critique.
Oh, Lord.
But let's just take a look at, the Shawshank Redemption. The Shawshank Redemption was just an outstanding movie. But it did horrific in the box office. But it had such a cult following. Now, it
might have done bad in the box office, but everybody under the sun has a copy of a DVD or a Blu-ray of that movie, or an old VHS. Yeah. There's no getting around it. So.
Yeah, and then you had the Green Mile, which did very well at the box office. You know what I mean? But it's still, I think it has a cult following today also. But both movies were absolutely just.
Actually, it didn't bomb.
Amazing.
The movie did not bomb. Budget was only $25 million. Its box office was $58 million.
For Shawshank?
Yeah. So it was a success.
Oh. Yeah, nice.
Trust me.
So how about Green Mile?
Green Mile, like I said, was $60 million at the box. It was $60 million budget with a $286 million box office.
That was exceptional.
Yeah.
But what
no,
that
Shawshank was exceptional. Freaking amazing was Green Mile. That's profitable right there.
But I think because you had the same director in the thought of the prison environment, if you take a look, it was really about the characters. If you really see how he actually went up there and they did cinematography on both movies. It was not necessarily broad screen. It wasn't the whole show. It was characters. So you had to have excellent actors and actresses, going in there portraying and doing right over there. They had to be on because you are taking up the screen.
True.
There's nothing else to see but you. So you had to be on point. That's the reason why when they had the for like Star Wars. I mean, one thing Mark Hamill said, and same with the other two, but Mark Hamill was like going up there and said, you are on the screen. You had to make sure that every emotion was right for the time and everything. You had to put that much energy into it because you had to set the tone because you were the movie in a sense. You know what I mean?
All right. So now, since there's no Retro Evolution, we're gonna go straight into questions. Oh shit! I just tossed my pen. Give me a second. There we go. But yeah, we're going to be going into questions now. So we will be answering questions from, of course, people I've asked around my hometown, as well as people online, what their questions would be for the show. One question was, what are your top 5 favorite Stephen King stories? Oh, God.
Oh, man.
That's...
Well, okay, it is mine. It is... Okay, also, The Dark Tower is 7 books. Like, and I love that whole series. Okay, sorry, just saying, like, it and The Dark Tower, and then also I love, like, a million other Stephen King books. I don't even know where to start. Like,
if you could name your top 5, or at least 5 in general, what would they be?
Can I count The Dark Tower as just one?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay, so it and The Dark Tower, even though there's 7 books, I will go with that. Oh, God. Oh my God. Okay, come back to me. I'll think about it because I have read his whole collection and I love them all. So this is hard.
All right, then, Master Chief, you'll be next.
I never really read any Stephen King books.
What about movies?
But
you can count those.
Okay, you know what I mean? So it's really like movies. Well, movies is basically, of course, you have the Shawshank Redemption, of course, the Green Mile, and then you do have a Stand By Me. Those are the. I mean, if you take a look, that's it. I you know, The Shining is right there too because as I said, like I was saying earlier, is that this one here, the hotel, was the hotel in itself was a character in itself. You know what I mean?
There's a really cool follow-up to that movie too. Dr.
Sleep. Yeah,
I haven't seen the movie, but the book is amazing.
I've seen both. They're good.
And I think and at first, I got to remember the name. Here, let me look up the name. I'm drawing a
For what? For what?
Which was it Sleepwalkers? The one with the cat.
The cat people?
Was it the cat people?
Or are you talking about Cat's Eye? The short story movie with the cat that featured in all 3 movies, short stories.
Hold on, Steven.
If you are saying that Sleepwalkers is good, I will hurt you.
I'm not
no, that one is really bad. I will say that's a bad movie that I don't think Stephen King approved at all.
No, he directed it.
Hold on.
Sleepwalkers?
Yes.
I don't know if
it was his original creation. Here, I'll even look it up.
Okay, hold on. Oh my God. Oh, that's right. Hold on. There's
All right, so he is the. Oh, so he wrote it. Okay, so yeah, he wrote the story.
I know it's a short story that I haven't even found in all of his works. Actually,
he written the screenplay.
Really?
Yes, it was his.
They should have got better actors.
No, he should not have made the movie at all.
No, you know what? I love Stephen King. I will not hear anything
that is
against
the one. Him. Here's the thing. That's the only movie which was not based on a book. But second, it was also one of his worst bombs.
Storm of the Century was not actually a book. It was a screenplay only. I looked into it, so.
Still, at least that wasn't a bomb, though.
You know what okay, so this is, well, you got Carrie.
That was amazing.
Carrie's
book
amazing.
And movie.
Oh, good Lord.
But you know what? You know what? The one I liked was Christine.
Oh my God! Yeah. Well, okay. I don't remember the movie. That's okay. Maybe I should put that on my top 5.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That was the car.
Yeah.
What a beautiful car, though. But Jesus.
Yeah, it was a beautiful car. But just the kid's transformation.
That's true. Yeah.
Was just,
Arnie.
It really was.
Because he takes on the whole persona of the guy Roland LeMay that sold him the car.
Yeah.
That was a 1983 film that I watched once as a kid, and it didn't stick with me. But I've read that book many times, and that is a phenomenal book that I love. So
the movie, I thought the movie was very good because if you concentrated on Marty,
it was John Carpenter. That's why John Carpenter is amazing.
Carpenter, yes.
Yeah, same guy who helped out with Halloween.
That movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, for my
but
5.
Arnie is so unfortunate in that. So.
Yes, it was. It was a very tragic. It was tragic. You know, it's kind of like almost like James Dean. It's almost like if you take a look, well, you know, in
but
a way,
James Dean was always cool and sexy. Arnie was such a nerd, and then he got that car, and he like took the life of the car because of that evil spirit, and it made him different. It made him a little more desirable for a while, and then it was his ultimate like demise. So we definitely should review all these movies and books. I am down. We shouldn't let this get in the way of this podcast or this stream right now. Like,
yeah,
because the 1958 Plymouth Fury, I could talk about it forever because I love that book, and I love Christine, so.
It was, and that's all I'm saying. Okay, Retro, what are your 5?
This is a really tough one, because there are so many stories. I'm only going to exclude Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption, because that would be too damn easy. Because you guys already know that would be put in my top 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're going to exclude those, one of them is Stephen King's It. I actually do like that.
That's my number 1.
Here's the thing, though. I like the original. I hate the remakes. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that.
It's okay. I get it.
Because, for one thing, one of my biggest criticisms of the remakes is that Pennywise looks absolutely stupid. No child would ever fall for a clown that looks like that.
Okay, the remake, but also what they stuck with in the remake is the colors. In the book, Pennywise isn't the same colorful that Tim Curry was. He's silver and white, and they followed his costume better, but I'm going to say Tim Curry, hands down, the best Pennywise that ever lived. So that's going against Alexander Skarsgård. He cannot live up to Tim Curry. So.
Here's the thing, though. Tim Curry makes him believable. I don't believe that other dude is a freaking clown. He looks like a damn demon. If I was that little boy in the beginning, I'd be saying, I'd be like, nope, and then running out of there. I'd be running out of there as soon as possible. But with Tim Curry, I would have fallen for him at that age. That's the thing. That's just one of my many nitpicks. And trust me, I am going to get to the remakes soon. Because trust me, I have a lot to say about them. But yeah, the original Stephen King...
We have to save that for another show.
Oh yeah, I'll be saving that for horror. That's going to be one I have to discuss. But when it comes down to the original Stephen King miniseries, that's definitely there. The other one is, of course, Stand By Me. That's no question. The third one, and this is actually going to be shocking a lot of people, is Children of the Corn. I actually thought that movie was pretty good for what it was worth.
Well, okay, the movie is good, but the short story is really kind of lame, so they actually did better on that movie than the short story.
They did. Except for the ending. Yeah, the ending's the one thing I have a problem with, because it looks like Casper the Friendly Ghost that tries to kill everybody. Yeah, nice job on the effects there, guys. Well done.
You want to know something? Just remember, Stay Puft tried to take out the Ghostbusters.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
God bless it. You had to bring him up. Okay.
Wait, I have my 5.
Okay.
It's also going to be books and not just movies.
Hold on.
Okay,
I'm not done yet.
Number 3 is going to be the Bill Hodges trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's Mr. Mercedes, and then there's a couple that follow it. That a trilogy is amazing, but it counted as number 3. And then Carrie, and then there's one that you probably guys don't know because they didn't make a movie out of it, but I love the book Lisey's Story. That is an amazing Stephen King novel. So.
Nice. When it comes down to another one of my favorites, surprisingly, it's not Christine. I do like that movie, but it's not my top 5, if we're excluding Shawshank and Green Mile, of course. When it comes down, but surprisingly, I know a lot of people are going to be interested to find out, is that I actually think that, what's that movie title called? I know they had Kathryn Bates in it, and she was a mother who was trying to get over what she had done, and her daughter visits her. I'm trying to remember that story.
Wait, what?
There's a story where...
I mean, I know Kathy Bates, but...
Dolores Claiborne?
Oh, Dolores Claiborne?
Yeah, Dolores Claiborne. Yeah, that one, I love that movie. It was...
Okay, I don't remember the movie, but you know what? That Dolores Claiborne and the movie book Gerald's Game go together in flashbacks. Just saying.
Yeah.
The spines of the book and the titles, Dolores Claiborne and Gerald's Game are in the same exact font and color. They're parallel. There's flashbacks that tie into those books together. So
yeah.
That book is crazy because there's child molestation and just some craziness that goes into that book. Like, wow.
Yeah.
And the movie too.
The other one is surprisingly not Pet Sematary.
I love that one.
It's good.
Why did I think of that one? See, he has too many.
Here's the thing. I think it's good, but I definitely don't say it's in my top 5.
Oh, I do. The book is so much better than the movie, once again.
Darn it, I'm trying to remember that. What was that Stephen King series called? I am trying to remember the long list of stuff I've watched from Stephen King.
The Stand. Was it The Stand?
No, that one's still good, but again, like I said...
There's a new Standout that's on Paramount Plus that just came out that I need to watch, that I want to watch. It's like a whole mini-series, not just a movie, so...
Interesting. God bless it. I'm trying to remember the name, because...
Okay, ready? This is all of his television shows. The Salem's Lot.
No.
The Word of Processor of the Gods.
No.
Grandma.
No.
It.
No.
The Moving
I already
Fingers.
mentioned that.
Sometimes they come back. The Tommyknockers. The Stand. The Langoliers?
Langoliers. No! 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 That was bad!
Give me quiet.
Screw that movie. That sucks.
Read the book.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? The Outsiders.
That's not Stephen King.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not The Outsiders, it's The Outsider. Yes. And that ties into the Bill Hodges trilogy that I've been talking about. So, Mr. Mercedes and the rest of the trilogy, so.
Stephen King movie. There we go. I'm trying. Hold on, I gotta look through the list of movies. Well, other than, of course, Dr. Sleep, but I won't go into that one. Guys, good lord. I want to save that for
That's a really awesome book.
Firestarter, Silver Bullet, Maximum Overdrive.
There was
Creep Show
Carrie.
2,
Carrie's the...
Running
Oh! 1408!
Okay.
Yeah.
Room 1408 was an amazing psychological film.
Yeah, I have to rewatch that movie. I kind of read the story, and I feel like the movie and the story were a little different, so I'd have to reread them both, because I wasn't impressed, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot, and of course, one that I think is just pure fun is Maximum Overdrive. I love that one. That's funny.
Yeah, that one's pretty great.
All right. Finally managed to get... Now, I was trying so hard to remember that freaking thing. All right.
Oh, wait, also Cat's Eye? I love that movie. I don't know who remembers that, but my favorite one was, Drew Barrymore was such a little girl in this movie, and it's the one with the creepy little turtle monster, the gnome creature that comes out of her wall in the middle of the night. Do you remember that? You know what I'm talking about, MasterChief.
Yeah.
And the cat is the superhero, and the cat comes and gets rid of that little monster. No. Yes. I need to see that movie again. It's been too many years. I'm not sure if it's available on anything, but I should look for it.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you said Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, as a little girl, she was in the movie Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
She was in the third. There were 3 stories in that movie, and she was in the third one. She was a little girl, and she had a new cat. Her parents didn't want the cat. They didn't want it in the house at night. They thought it was evil, or there was a strange fairy tale.
Witch Mountain? Isn't that Escape to Witch Mountain?
No, that's a little different, but I love that story too. But no, there was a fairy tale or a wives' tale about cats stealing little kids' breath at night, so they didn't want the cat to sleep with her. And then the cat wasn't allowed in, and then all of a sudden that wall opened up, and it was that little monster doing it instead. So what, honey? What? Sorry. Okay, I'll get you a waffle. Hold on. But no, that was an amazing movie. Oh no.
No, it was a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want to rewatch it now. I should look for it. I'm going to watch The Green Mile and then look for Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes down to... all right, here's our next question. And, okay, what are your 3 most hated Stephen King film adaptations?
Well,
Dreamcatcher! Oh my God!
Okay, yeah, that's definitely there.
They did not do that book justice. It was awful. Okay, so one of the main characters who is awesome, he is mentally retarded only because he has syndrome. He's an amazing character, and they made him just a normal handicapped person played by Mark Wahlberg, and it wasn't believable, and it was so cheesy, and in the theater, I got mad, and I yelled, and my friend Claire that went with me, she's like, shut up, Dessa, what are you doing? I'm like, this is not right, I hate this. I got mad in the theater. Yeah, no, I was irate. I don't like to go watch those movies in the theater anymore, because I don't think they're going to stay true to the story.
Yeah,
I did not like Cujo. I did not like Cujo at all.
Cujo is not bad.
Oh.
You know what? I just don't know. It just was not a movie for me. That just wasn't it.
And do you want to hear? I mean, the movie had a little bit more of a happy ending in the book. In the book, the little boy dies.
But it doesn't matter. It's still Cujo. It was not. To me, it just wasn't. It just wasn't that. It did nothing for me.
Also, in the book, it was a little more menacing because Cujo was a Saint Bernard, and that's a huge fucking dog with rabies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying is for me, Cujo to me was not. It did nothing for me. And
read the book. I advise books on tape. If you don't want to read a book, get some books
Oh
on tape.
shit! I just remembered one. The Running Man.
Oh,
that's Stephen King. That's Stephen King.
It is, but it was Richard Bachman posing as Stephen King.
I don't care. That's a good one.
I am sorry. You asked an expert, and I'm just a stick in the mud on this podcast. I'm sorry. The stream, whatever we're doing, I'm sorry.
But yeah, here's the ones I hate. Langoliers, definitely one of the worst. Dreamcatcher is another one that is just absolute shit. Sleepwalkers. The fuck is wrong with you, Stephen King?
Sleepwalk, yeah.
Fuck that movie.
Well, okay, you can also have your failures. I still love the man, so give him credit where it's due.
The remake of Carrie was a really bad choice to remake. You can't remake the original. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't
its
watch
sequel
it, so
is bad as well.
Well, I didn't like the remake either. It's kind of like how Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze said you cannot have a Dirty Dancing 2 because you can't lose your virginity twice.
And also, there's no more than one Patrick Swayze. I'm sorry, he's the only one.
Well, but the thing is that was the thing is,
Tommy Knockers sucks.
You had maybe Tommy Knockers. Yeah, there you go.
That sucks.
Yeah, that was a weird book. I feel like that is a weird book that I like, but also he was on a lot of drugs during that book. So, just saying.
But like I said, though, yeah, those are just the ones I would choose as the absolute worst. Because, fucking hell, some of those went to such extremes, I'm like, why would you ever think of this, Stephen King?
Well, I don't know, I'll give the Tommy Knockers book is better than the movie, but it's still kind of out
weird
there.
as hell.
I think it's because of where he was at that time of his life, so, I mean, I feel like the stuff that they have decided to make movies out of his works, it's like, what are you thinking sometimes? Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
all right.
As I said, if you start taking a look at, you've got to figure how many books is he written, how many movies have been adapted to it. You're definitely going to have your really great ones, and you're going to have your really crappy ones. So, you know what? Retro, what you need to do is you need to do a show on just crappy, 100% crappy Stephen King film.
Oh, trust me.
Non-crappy, whatever.
Trust me. There's going to be an entire...
He's very talented, and he's making money off of us no matter what now. Like, I would give my left foot to meet Stephen King and just talk to him for a few minutes. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. All right, here's the thing, though. Trust me, next time we do this on September, I am going to do the shitty Stephen King films. I'm not looking forward to it. I am going to fucking torture myself with this bullshit.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you guys know that I don't deal well with certain movies, Yeah.
We already know.
There's
we
some.
know. We know Rage Boy. We know Rage Boy.
I'm glad you finally embraced the horror movies, because it took a long time to get you up to snuff on those. Like,
oh yeah, and let's just
but
say
also,
I
okay,
have
just
seen.
saying the trilogy I've been talking about. I looked it up. Stephen King, Mr. Mercedes, second book, Finders Keepers, third one, End of Watch. Amazing books.
Okay.
Yeah.
There, guys.
They're great. I mean, I got into them just recently. I've been behind on certain things. I had a child. I got behind on things, and now that he's old enough to not need constant care, now I'm getting back into the swing. Like, what have I been missing?
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
And she's got her audiobooks as she drives to work.
Oh yeah, my podcast. I'm okay. I love Last Podcast on the Left more than anything. I listen to it every day, and I'm going to see them October 1st in Oakland, and I'm super stoked.
There you go.
All right. Ingot, this
They're
one's
the ones who taught me Alcatraz means pelican.
Ingot, this one is specifically for you. How many Stephen King books have you read in your entire life?
Oh God, okay. I've read almost all of them. I can say that there are a few, probably of the short story collections I haven't been up to date with, because I like to sink my teeth into like a big novel, and the short stories, like, they get me hooked and then they leave me wanting sometimes. So I mean, it's hard to say. You would have to look up his whole collection, and then like how many books he has. Maybe I haven't read.
Hold on. How many books do you think you own?
I feel like I've read all of them. Maybe the most recent stuff.
How many books do you think you own?
Own? Wait, hold on.
I'm actually kind of
So
curious.
right now, no, I'm counting right now in front of me on my bookshelf. Right now, I have 15 just in front of me, but that's a small amount. Like, I have so many more in storage. I have double copies that I've rebought on Kindle, so I have a huge library on my Kindle of all his books. So I've read almost everything. It would be the most recent stuff that I maybe am not up to date on, because I got distracted by life and a kid, and I've been trying to catch up. So I read The Institute. I think that's the most recent of his that I've read, and I love that one. So
according
and
to
I'm looking forward to anything else he's going to put out.
Yeah, according to this, how many books has Stephen King done? He has finished up to 63 novels.
Novels? I might have read all the novels. It's the novellas and the short stories.
Yeah, short stories he has up to 200.
Wow.
Okay, so that's where I'm lacking. I might not have read all those collections that have the short stories. So
yeah, but for what it's worth, though, yeah, he has 63 novels. It's 5 nonfiction, 11 collections, 16 others. I'm like, mother of God, and that's around at least 80 total. What the?
Always look over the whole list and then get back to you later, because I've just followed him for so long. I don't know. And also, my favorite books, I reread over and over again. So I've read it probably since I was 12, maybe 10 times. Like, I love that book. The Dark Tower series, I think I've read the whole thing through 4 times. The first 4 at least 4 times, and then when it gets crazy with Wolves of Kala and all that, I haven't only read those a couple. So.
All right, here's a question. How old were you guys when you read your very first Stephen King novel?
10.
You were 10 years old?
I had to sneak out in the night. I had to sneak out in the middle of the night and put a stool. I had to climb the couch with a flashlight, so my mom did not know I was getting into her Stephen King bookshelf, because she specifically told me I was not allowed to read him, and I did it anyway. Because I was allowed to watch the movies. What's wrong with the books? What? Cuss words and sex. That's the problem.
Okay, so I'm just saying, for me, I'm 53 years old and have yet to read. So.
Oh man, you are so deprived.
Oh, I'm not deprived at all. Trust me, I am not deprived.
You would be surprised to how old I was.
Well, not so much. You're going to be younger than Master Chief, so.
5.
Yeah.
Which book?
Stand By Me.
How'd you read it?
At my
Was
school.
it read to you? What?
Word?
My school. I chose Stand By Me for my book report.
Wow.
Yeah. Even my teacher was wondering, why choose that one?
Well, you got to understand, too, Retro could read.
Yeah, I was literally
No,
reading.
I wasn't doubting that he could read.
No, it's more. I was reading.
Movie at 5.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I was reading at a high school level when I was 5.
Not quite.
Or at least that's what she told me. I think it was over exaggeration,
I was
but
reading at a high school level at 4th grade. I remember specifically that it was crazy.
Yeah, like
I think it was an over exaggeration on the teacher's part. But
it's funny. Back when he was 5, everybody would give him his card, and he would be reading. You know, he read the card to everybody. So everybody's birthday card, or if they were, you know, whatever it is, they would bring it up to him to read.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know the class would, stuff like that.
We love you, and you're super smart and everything, but you can't get anything past us. We remember you're talking to the wrong folks.
Yeah, I remember.
You were not. You're a little older.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people were.
Yeah, but I'm just saying is the fact that, you know, he was light years ahead of any kids that were anywhere close to his age, or even that were older. That he had a vocabulary that was probably better than mine.
Well, also, he had an entertaining soul back as a child. He was born to entertain everyone, so.
This is the reason why he's Mr. Retroactive.
Yeah, I get to finally show it off to the rest of the world.
Yes, exactly. But for me, I just said I'm not a reader. Now, like, you know, Puginator is a reader, you know, and stuff like that. Puginator 2020. Now, that's
why she and I are soul cousins.
Soul cousins, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, and stuff like that, too. And the thing is that it's one of those things that, but I never can get into reading. Because it irritates me.
Right.
I don't
not
find
true.
relaxation.
Like you said, you don't read for fun. You read educational, real-life stuff. It's not that you're not a reader. You just read different material. So you probably relax a different way. How do you relax? Not with reading. How do you relax?
No. How do I relax? Let's see. Bourbon.
All right. Here's the next question. What was the most complex book you ever read when you were young?
Ooh, that's how young? The Mists of Avalon. I read fairly young about King Arthur and all that. That was fairly, and also Lamort de Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
I got into a lot of Arthurian stuff in about 8th grade because I was super into all that, and I was like, man, some of this I love, but what the hell else am I reading? I don't understand this. Like, one thing I love is the Once and Future King by E.B. White is about King Arthur, and you know the Sword and the Stone Disney movie?
Yeah.
You know how it's got the talking owl and all the cool stuff?
Yeah.
That movie is actually modeled after E.B. White's version of Merlin and Sword in the Stone. That happens in the book. There's the talking owl. There's cool stuff. I mean, Disney did awesome on that movie. So,
yeah, even though that it's also not even based on a real-life tale in England. Technically, King Arthur is Irish.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that right now.
The thing is, like, for me, it's nothing complex. It's just the fact that when you're researching something, you just kind of research the moment, you know, or if you're actually doing something. So it wasn't really anything. I don't want to say it's anything complex, you know.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, because it's not like I went out there and took a look at a book and just said, you know, I'm going to read this thing.
Yeah.
I look at the book and I read 2 pages, then I go outside and I play for the rest of it.
For me, it's a book I actually own right now. Art of War, Sun Tzu.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I read this book religiously as a kid.
Really? I haven't read that at all.
I read this book when I was about maybe 8 or 9. I got it from the library, and I've been reading it ever since. When I found out that it was on sale, I bought this book, and I've been reading. I think I've read this book about I think a total of 1,482 times.
No.
How many pages is this book?
I think over 500 pages.
You have too much time on your hands if you've read it that many times. Just saying.
No. The thing is that you know, but you also read it for what you need. It's kind of like the Art of War is kind of like the Art of the Deal.
It's a guideline for pretty much life itself. of how you interpret life and how you deal with it.
And a lot of times, a lot of it, if you take a look at the art of the deal, not only is it good for the military, but it also is great for business. There's a lot of things that's in that book that translates into business very, 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 very well.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, the art of war, a lot of people use it from, like of course, the military, business owners, and yes, even people who deal with sports or just everyday people read this book because it actually helps you deal with a lot of situations you're not used to. And yeah, let's just say
it is a really good book.
Oh yeah, like I said, I pretty know most of this book by heart. That's how much I've read it.
Well, I haven't read that one. Maybe I should put it on my list. Is it for fun or is it more educational?
It's more educational.
It's educational, but it also tells the story of Sun Tzu himself and his mission during that particular part of history.
Okay. Kindle is at $2.37.
But yeah, it's that's definitely one of them.
It's $2.37.
Oh, nice. Okay. It looks like there's a deluxe 7-volume box set. No.
Yeah.
For how much this book has been published,
though. It's only $22, so like, wow. No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm willing to try it out. I mean, I'm always open to new things. I haven't read that much educational things, so it's mostly just been for fun as an escape from life. Like, right now I'm working in a hospital, and it's been super stressful, and I just like to come home and shoot things in Borderlands or read, Stephen King or some other crazy stuff, so.
True. All right. Here is our next question. And this actually is another one based for the Stephen King. If you were given a chance to meet Stephen King, would you meet him?
Yes! Oh my god, 1,000 times yes, and I would have a million questions for him, and I would tell him how much I love him, and how much he's influenced my reading life since I was 12 years old, and even I was watching his movies as a young kid. Like, I've been fascinated with the crazy horror stuff, and he's amazing. So I would meet him in a heartbeat, and 50 times over.
Just listen to Ingot. The first thing that comes to me, and I will hug him, and I will squeeze him, and I will.
Jesus! Did you really have to bring that up?
Honestly,
He's my fluffy, and I
hate that. Fuck.
But that's the first thing that came to my mind. But for me, honestly, I could take it or leave it. It really. Stephen King is not the.
No, you better take it and then invite me to sit in your place.
Well, how about this? I will give you my ticket. If that happens, you win to go up there and spend one day with Stephen King. I will give you my ticket.
Hell, okay. I would.
Yeah. So, but personally, for me, I would. There's so many other people I would want to meet. He's not one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of the people I wanted to meet.
I would love to meet him. So.
Oh, trust me, a lot of the people I want to meet are almost all dead now.
Oh man.
So
that's
yeah,
depressing.
Pretty much. I don't really have many aspirations at this point because most of them are gone now.
It's authors that are still current. I would love to meet Stephen King and J.K. Rowling maybe, and then.
Oh, not her for me.
Dean Koontz.
You know what? I kind of like him, but he's not as good as Stephen King. He tries, but he's a little different. Like, he got listed in the horror genre, and I honestly, most of his stuff I can't say are horror. I respect him. He writes about round here. Like, when I read his book, he's talking about, like, Napa Valley and, like local places, which I'm stoked about, but I don't forgive him for Phantoms, the movie and book Phantoms. No, I don't forgive him for that. There's plenty of other stuff he's done that's great, but...
Yeah, like for me saying, like for Dean Koontz, I never really thought he was a horror writer. I thought he did really good with suspense. I thought he was
suspense and supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah, he can hold you in that moment, and that's where I think that because sometimes they take supernatural and making it into horror, which it really isn't. It's more sci-fi. It's more, it's kind of like watching The Negotiator, and stuff like that.
True.
That was a hugely suspenseful movie. But, I see Dean Koontz being same, that once he gets you gripped and he gets you into the moment, then yes, then you can go out there and say, here you go, you know.
And story and movie, then Phantoms. I hated that one. I do not forgive him for that work. So
for me, if I were to choose anybody I would like to meet personally right now, who, thank God he's still alive, Akira Toriyama.
Who's he?
He is the guy who created Dragon Ball freaking Z, and was one of the co-creators for Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest.
Nice.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Okay.
that guy is basically the dude who defined my childhood.
Comic and anime writers. I didn't know that. I thought we were just doing novelists. So.
But
Well,
yeah,
they were, you know, basically the whole thing was, if you could meet Stephen King, would you?
it's a mixed bag for me.
And, you know.
The other author I would love to meet is Orson Scott Card, and he's the creator and author of Ender's Game and the whole Ender series. I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's an amazing sci-fi series that in 9th grade I had to read Ender's Game, like required reading, and my whole class was like groaning about it. Oh, this is gonna be boring, and I heard like complaints. I read it all over a holiday weekend. I binged through that book. It was so amazing, and I got all A's on my book reports because I was so into the book, and I had all good things to say. So that's a series that I will promote to the end of my life, and he's an amazing author. Besides Ender, anything else he does is great. So,
Yeah.
All right.
I right now, go ahead.
All right, we have one last question before we go, and this one, hold on, I got it. All right, guy. This question asks, if you were given a chance to, which video game did you think had the best emotional storytelling that was on par with Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption?
oh God. Okay, so without any spoilers, I don't want them, but I've heard that Mass Effect it's one I need to play, but I don't have it like available to me on a good like console or platform right now.
Hold on, do you have an Xbox 360?
It doesn't work because my controls don't work. I have all 3 games that I cannot play. I need to order a control, like an old school one. Like, it just sucks.
I actually happen to know a
game
game store in my area. If I purchase you an Xbox 360 controller, I will send it to you.
Oh my God, I will totally play it. I tried to fire it up like 3 months ago and I couldn't play it. So
all right, I'll try to look for a controller for you.
It's Mr. Ingot's favorite game, and he and his best friend, the best friend that introduced me to Mr. Ingot, have been trying to get me to play this game since 2015, and I haven't been able to. So.
All right, I will try to find you a controller if I can. But for me. Oh wait, hold on. What's yours?
Last of Us 2. Sorry.
Which one?
Last of Us 2. I actually played that one.
Yeah, what game would you say that had the best emotional storytelling that was on par with Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption?
You know, honestly, right now, I really don't know. And the reason why I say that is because I'm an arcader, and I'm not necessarily a...
You're not playing the emotional RPG games right now, so...
Well, because that's not how I grew up, you know what I mean?
You gotta embrace the future, man. You gotta do it, Master Chief.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm trying to say is go arcade, okay?
Yeah, for me...
Those are great too, but you need to branch out, because we have played your arcade, right? Retro, we played arcade, and we love it. You gotta come down to our level now, damn you.
Yeah.
And that's right. I like how you put it in the proper term. I have to come down to your level. So
how dare you!
Yeah.
No!
Well, that's what you said.
Okay.
That's what you said. I'm just
fine,
going with that.
up to our master level. You podunk back in the day, Steve Donkey.
All right. Here's the thing. For a lot of you guys who know, I love Chrono Trigger because this game is perfect right here. I am actually holding it right now, an official cartridge. But if I were to say the one that had the best emotional storytelling from back in those days that I played, it's actually got to be this one. Final Fantasy 3, which is technically Final Fantasy 6.
This one...
Yeah, this one...
Yeah, I couldn't get through that one.
Wow.
No, only because I didn't have the patience. I liked the better graphics. I tried, and I didn't have a good console. I only had it on my PlayStation, and I feel like I didn't like the disc format, like whatever was happening. I didn't keep up with it. So
when it comes down to Final Fantasy VI. This one had a main story that followed a one simple premise, but one that I think a lot of people relate to. Loss. And trust me when I say this, every character you meet in this particular game has suffered some form of loss in their time. And it's amazing how each and every one of them actually still feels very real to what people feel every day. I think I remember one of my friends who played this game from start to finish, and he had gone through depression for years because of the loss of both of his parents in a car accident. And I told him, try this game. And honestly, I thought that, and this was a bit of a risk. He was in a pretty dark place at the time, so I thought maybe letting him play a game like this could help him, give him a better perspective, like someone else's perspective on that type of situation of what happened. And I think, because right now he's doing very well for himself now, but even though he does still have depression, it's not as bad as it was at the time. And he said that this game actually spoke to him on an emotional level that most other games or other forms of media couldn't even compare. I was impressed by his comment, but yeah.
And like I said, too, just like the movies, just like video games, there is going to be something in there that's going to strike a chord with that person, and in their moment, if it was grief or if it was excitement or whatever, there's always something about how good of a movie is. Because if you take a look, even in the Shawshank Redemption and even in the Green Mile, not only that you had some really dark moments in there, but you also had some really lighthearted moments. You also had some moments that was very thought-provoking. You had other moments that went up there. So what I think what it is really comes back down to, like the Shawshank Redemption and the Green Mile were all excellent movies because of. Now, when you start taking a look like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy III, Ingot, what was yours again? I can't remember.
I'm sorry. Which game are you talking about? I played all the games you're.
Yeah, but there was a game that you said that was kind of the one that encompassed, the one that you thought encompassed everything, like similar to the Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. I can't remember the game that you God, I don't know. Final Fantasy VII, I love that one. But okay, I got into the late game Final Fantasy VII, 8, 9, 10 that I love, and I have all the good things to say about, especially 10 and 8. I mean 7, 10 and 7. So, also 9. I'm sorry, I can't remember how that related to the movies, and I'm sorry that I.
The reason why is that was the question was the main question was about emotional storytelling, and the reason why I did choose Final Fantasy 3 was
7
definitely
and 10
that.
for me emotionally. That was crazy.
Yeah, and when it comes down to 3 though, what?
The thing is like, as I said, each one's going to hit you a little bit differently and stuff like that too. I think like the Halo series in itself, you know what I mean?
True.
Basically,
I missed out on the whole Halo series. I need to play that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, but when you start talking about Reach, right? Mm-hmm. That was the end, pretty much right there.
Wait, Halo Reach?
That
might have been the only one I played. I played one that was weird, and I tried to get into it, and it was like, I didn't go very far. I thought Reach was the one I started and didn't go very far in. So
well, technically, it's a prequel to 1, but yeah.
Reach was kind of but it basically I think the storytelling when Bungie was in charge of it was good. You know what I mean? I think they had a really excellent concept. And I think really things went over there. And you can get emotional with the characters and the plight that they were going through at the time. You know what I mean? And I think that was very, very emotional at that particular point because, it could have been the end, not just of the human race, of a lot of races at this point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I really like how Halo actually went up there, and now mind you guys out there, ladies and gentlemen, out there in Retroland, is the fact that I never physically played the game, but I watched Retro play the game. So it's like, for me, I've seen how the games progress. You can see the story, you can see how things are moving forward at that point. So for me, I guess you would say it would be the Halo series.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
Yeah.
Bungie,
but yeah.
How about this? Bungie storyline.
Yeah.
I had to predicate it with Bungie storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, for me, it would definitely be Final Fantasy 3 or Final Fantasy 6 technically for me personally, because it even hits me on a certain level when it comes to some of the stuff. And it's not just the main characters or the side characters that go through it. Even the main villain has a form of loss, nihilism. What's the point of life? There's no real point. It's only suffering, death, and he wants everyone else to feel it. To know that this is inevitable. And there's nothing you can do to change it.
But
it's a pretty interesting concept, though.
Is the same thing too.
Yeah, that
oh
one.
my god, I love Bioshock so much.
Bioshock is the same thing, though, right?
That one's definitely that's more psychological
I mean?
mystery.
But still, it is still the point of there's loss. There's a point that, what I'm trying to say, there's a lot of things over there. Remember, it started out as a utopia, and look how it ended.
And it went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Man, I love that
that's
game so much. Okay, I love Bioshock, and I love the third one. The second one's like meh. The third one is pretty great. But I could play the first Bioshock over and over and over.
And I have to say,
would you kindly?
I'm telling you right there, Bioshock 1 is probably my favorite. I've watched Retro go through it more than once, and it is. Another one I really like too is actually, believe it or not, Metro 2033.
I don't know that
one.
It's based off a Russian novel series.
Wait, you can send me that one. Text me that in a message or something so I know.
I will.
But when Retro started playing it and I started watching it, and if you just look at it for just watching it, I don't know, just something about...
How much did you sit around watching and not playing?
Because I watched him on his stream.
No, I know, but how much have you sat around watching and not, participating? Because you would have a lot of fun just trying to play out some games. Man, when I've had a rough week at work, I just want to come home and shoot some people in Borderlands. I want to see some heads explode. So, it's very therapeutic. Okay, here you go. My hands are not trained on a controller. You have to train them.
No, I'm old, and I would rather go up there and be able to make myself a joystick, just like if I was on an actual arcade. I could probably play the video game like that more than I can play.
Yeah, maybe Atari 2600, maybe.
Just the fun combination and everything else like that. It doesn't. To me, it's not intuitive. I'm not intuitive with the controller, but I'm very intuitive with when I'm standing up and I got my hands right there on what I consider my controller. That to me is intuitive. I cannot be intuitive. I watch him in awe all the time because I do not understand how you can do what you're doing because it doesn't make sense to me because that's not how I grew up.
Yeah.
But so I'm just saying is for me, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about how Metro and how the storyline goes. I thought it followed that emotional,
It did, yeah.
Also. Yeah.
But yeah, wow. Still, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. I want to thank Ingot and Master Chief for joining us here. I did want to make one last announcement before we end today's stream. Is that ever since I started the show, I've been planning for a 100th episode for quite a while. Deciding what games I would choose for the channel to do an actual review on. It took a lot of deliberation, along with the help of my friends, to make this decision. And I've decided that Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, or 3 in this case for the US release, will be my 100th episode on the channel. So that will be a celebration of doing up to 100 episodes of this on my channel from start to finish. And I think it'll be a great way to celebrate for how many episodes we've done. I need to double check my list and find out how many episodes I've done up to this point. Because I already know we've already reached past 30 episodes, and I think we're almost towards 40. So getting up to there we're getting there. It's getting close. Which is kind of hard to believe that we're already done over 30 episodes, which is insane. But
Yeah, I know.
yeah, you can definitely tell we've done a lot of video games, we've done a lot of movies. But like I said, we are going to try to start something new where you guys will have a chance to choose what we're going to be doing for December. For the 12 days, since the December month, the entire month will be you guys choosing the reviews for Saturdays from all the way from the first week of December all the way to January 1st. We're going to allow you guys to choose the episodes for that. We're even going to allow you guys to do the voting for episodes on January. So, as my Christmas gift to you, I'm letting you guys choose the episodes we're going to be doing for RetroActive's Corner from the first Saturday of December all the way to the last Saturday of January. It is my Christmas gift to you. And my other Christmas gift to you is that I've already put it in the announcements, and I will actually show you right now. I'm going to click on it. Here it is. Right here, 12 Days of Christmas. I promise I will set up a list of games, and I'll be posting it on November on the Discord, and we're going to let you guys vote on which game will have a chance to be put in order. Remember, least voted will be first, the most votes will go last as my ultimate Christmas gift to you guys. And of course, one more thing is that we have our upcoming horror month where we're going to be doing nothing but horror games, and we're going to be doing a lot of horror movie reviews. Trust me when I say this, that there's going to be a lot of them. A lot of horror. Don't be surprised if you see me in the hospital during that month.
Oh, yeah.
With constant heart palpitations or literally me suffering a heart attack. Because, good Lord, my health is going to go through the roof during this month. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want to increase my chance of going to the hospital already.
You gotta find some self-soothing methods, like you know,
in my particular case, I already just got through a car accident. I don't want to go through anything close to that right now.
No, I know, but that's more traumatic. You can just chill out and find some. Oh, yeah. You text me. I'll tell you some methods. No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Next week, the next movies we're going to be doing for Stephen King is going to be Stephen King's miniseries It and The Mist.
Oh, God. Okay. I'll be there definitely for It. I would have to rewatch The Mist. I've read both the book and the movie, and I feel like the movie ends a lot more better than the book, so.
Actually, no, I prefer the book version.
And even Stephen King himself says the same, so.
Alright, so basically, and of course, we're going to have Pug in the Year 2020 and Billy Peddle joining us for that one, as well as, of course, we're going to do Stand By Me the week after. And like I said, I will surprise you with 2 very shitty Stephen King movies to finish off the month. I am not looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the other stuff, just not the last 2 movies. I'm going to be pushed to basically shoot my kneecaps off at this rate. And of course, apparently some fans of mine have been suggesting I do a type of month known as Shitty Month, where I do everything that is horrible. Basically, I will be watching movies, playing video games that are such shit that I will literally lose my mind. And hell, they're even calling it Rage Month. I'm not looking forward to that either. Because good God hell, I don't know what's gonna happen. But you may see me in a straitjacket in one of the episodes.
So I hear that you're going to play Cuphead. Just because.
Fuck.
That game is insane. It's insanely infuriating. Don't do it. No.
I'm already almost finished with the game.
Like,
I've been playing on the highest difficulty in every level. I'm not allowed to go any lower.
Mr. Ingot tried to play that. I feel like he got very far, but then gave up because it was just so awful. I watched him play it, and it was kind of strangely creepy. There were a couple of bosses.
Oh, yeah,
I had a recurring nightmare as a kid about a shoe and a moon on my wall that I would see dancing around. It was in exactly the same, like, 1920s weird, like, animation style that's in this game. So I was like, okay, I can't watch this game. It's bringing up childhood, like, traumatic dream memories, so...
Yeah. For me, Yep, so, yeah. We don't know when we're gonna get... If I decide to do it, it will be a one-time month thing. I'm not gonna do it again. Because I like to spread the shittiness across the year and not have to do it constantly for 1 month. That's just too much for me. So I'm only going to do this once for you. I don't know when it will happen, but when it happens, I will personally let you know. And again, like I said previously, don't be surprised if you see me in a straitjacket in one of the episodes of RetroActive's Corner.
Oh, yeah.
Because I might have just been sent to the asylum for a week.
Hey, I've been glad to be a part of this. I have to bow out right now. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to the next time. I love you guys. See you later.
See you later.
I love you too.
Alright, so until then, tonight we're going to be doing Smash Bros. We're going to be doing it a little bit shorter this time because of how long this review took. Because, good God, this stream is still going, and I can't believe we've lasted as long as we have. So, yeah, to make up for it, we will have to cut down a little bit of the time from Smash Bros. But, yeah, like I said, this was an awesome review, but Jesus H. Christmas. This was much long. Actually, this is the longest review I've done on this channel. That's saying a lot. Especially for all the reviews I've done in the past. But yeah, we will be cutting the time for Smash Brothers. That's just unfortunate, but hey, I need a break after dealing with reviews sometimes because it can get really debatable on this one, as you've already seen in my past videos. If you guys do, go on my YouTube live streams channel, check out some of my past episodes on RetroActive's Corner, and trust me, you're going to see me rage to a point where I feel like I'm about to basically pass out. Because there's a few episodes where I've gone that far. Tomorrow, on Sunday, we have Roblox and we have racing. That's right, we're going on to racing for Mario Kart 8. And so far, people have been requesting me to do that. I'm almost thinking of just changing it straight up to Mario Kart Sunday. Because at this rate, that's the game that seems to be the most popular racing game we've done on the channel. So we may just strictly call it Mario Kart Sunday from this point forward. If you guys request it. Monday.
That sounds like a great idea.
D&D. I have to double check with the others. But if they're available, we'll do D&D. If not, I have a special surprise for you guys on Monday. Just to let you guys know on that. And for Tuesday, we have Mutant Football League. Good God, that game has been very popular as of recent. Because you love the gore, you love the mayhem, you love me screaming to the high heavens wondering why the play didn't work and why the game is going against me. You love all those moments, and we're still going to continue it. It's been very popular. And the reason why I'm not going to change that one is because Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball is also popular. And same goes, of course, with other sports games. So that's one I know will never change. And finally, we have Tuesday night, we have... Oh, nice. We have the very official first Adventure Tuesday, where we're going to be doing Ghost of Tsushima. And it will be the game we're going to start off Adventure Tuesday with this week. Next week, of course, we'll go straight back into horror, and then we'll go right back to adventure mode like we used to back in the day with Star Wars. However, now I'm dedicating the month of May to Star Wars entirely. Like, the entire month is going to be nothing but Star Wars. So I think that'd be pretty fun. But other than that, though, yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see. I promise you I will update the schedule on Thursday of this week to show you next week's schedule and how everything's going to play out. And one more thing before we go is, I just need to crack my neck. There we go. We're hoping to try to get trivia back up and running. And I know for those of you guys who live in the Medical Lake area who have seen me do trivia before, unfortunately, I will no longer be hosting. That'll be left to a couple of my family and friends who will be helping me out with that particular one. They'll be taking over the trivia at this point. But, and I say but, I feel like we're going to be doing something pretty interesting for you all. I'm thinking that maybe once in a while, I might live stream a trivia session with everybody over at the place I work at, so that you guys get a chance to join in the fun and actually get to hang out with everybody out in the place that we do trivia. I think it'd be pretty interesting. But again, that's only until COVID has been dealt with at this point. It's hit a lot of businesses pretty hard. Hopefully, with everything that's been happening, we'll finally be able to get back on our feet and we'll be able to actually start doing trivia normally. And yes, if at all possible, once in a while, I will do it for you guys. I will actually go there and do a live stream of the trivia, and you guys get to join along. I think that'd be pretty fun. So, until then, I hope you all have an amazing day. I'll see you all next time. This is Mr. RetroActive, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.